Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Can you all hear me okay, by the way?
I can.
All good.
Good. What of course could happen is I could say, can you all hear me? And then just I get no response. Anyway, fortunately, I got some thumbs up and some hearing. Isabel, apologies for thrusting you front stage in a way because we've been chatting backstage for a few minutes in your absence. But how are you doing, Isabel?
I'm fine. How are you, John?
Oh, nobody ever asks me. Okay, yeah, I'm all right. I guess it's a funny time zone that we're all having to live through at the moment, whether you're based in Europe or the Americas. But I guess that's 3/4 of the tennis season. Well, it's probably not so bad. Listen, us Europeans, we spend 3 months of the year complaining, and probably Bianca, as she's nodding there, maybe we should be a little bit appreciative that we have so much.
You guys get a big chunk, substantial chunk of the tennis calendar.
When it's in Europe, it really works for me as well because it's early in the morning, so it's fine. So I'm like, let me not complain because everyone in the Australia time zone, they have to deal with that the whole year. So.
Are you an early riser, Bianca?
Yeah. I like to wake up early because I never used to be. So I'm trying to orient that in my old age.
I'm trying to transition to where Bianca is because I'm a night owl by natural trade.
What about you, Isabel? Where are you on this spectrum?
Well, when I'm working, I'm a morning person, but when I'm not working, it's fully nocturnal. So the Australian is like the hardest tournament, I think, for people in America because it comes on so late. But
if they do the scheduling right, like unlike this match here, because it's midnight on the East Coast and 9 p.m. on the West Coast and in the US, but sometimes they get the scheduling kind of catered to our time zone and they put those first on matches like 11 or 12 p.m. Australian time, that turns into like 7, 8, or 9 p.m. in the American time zone. So sometimes you can have a glass of wine and watch those first couple of matches in Australia and doze off into the night and wake up sometimes when they're still playing. So I like it a little bit. It works for me a little bit.
I'm going to go backstage now. Otherwise, you're all going to speak about like 7 words over the next 2 or 3 hours. But before I do, I need a prediction. Let's start with Bianca. She's immediately below me on the screen. Bianca, what's going to happen today between Raducanu and Svitolina?
I mean, I'm already seeing the leg wrap on Raducanu's leg. That wasn't there before. Second match of the year. So I don't know. I feel like Svitolina's, she has that fire. I think I'm going to go Svitolina.
Fair enough. Miles?
I was actually going to be a little provocative and go with Raducanu, the wild card, and the upset specialist, maybe. But then I took a gander at her gait of walk with that taped thigh, and I'm going to go strong with Svitolina. Maybe in 2 straight sets, actually.
Yeah, I feel the same. And Svitolina has raced through that opening service game. But Isabel, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm all for Svitolina. I think it'll be straight sets. Just based on last season's performance from Svitolina was so much higher than Raducanu's. I'd be really shocked to see Raducanu do well against her right now.
Fair enough. I'll see you all very soon.
So I'm interested in, like, speaking of what you were just saying, Isabel. Is Isabella or Isabel? Am I making it?
Isabel.
Isabel. Yeah. Okay, got it. Sorry. I don't know why I was trying to add an extra syllable to your name.
It's okay.
I'm interested for both of these players, actually. When you think about Raducanu, I think a lot of people go back to that US Open run because she's so synonymous with it. But what do you, if you do go to that US Open run, what do you think of specifically about it? And if you don't go to that US Open run, when you think about Raducanu, what does your mind go to?
When I think of Raducanu now, I mostly think about inconsistency. Because since her US Open run, like 2 years ago, was that it? We have not seen her perform well, I think, in I can't think of a single match that I've seen her perform well in. And I mean, I don't follow her career very closely, so I can't speak to why that might be the case. I've heard, rumors of coaching issues and switching coaches constantly throughout the seasons. But mostly when I think of her, I think of inconsistency. I have not seen her at the same level that she was at the U.S. Open since the final. It's kind of sad, really. I wish that wasn't the case.
Yeah, because there's certainly a spark in her that to me makes her watchable. What about you, Bianca? What do you think about when you think about Raducanu? If you don't think about the U.S. Open, if you do, what part of it?
Yeah, I wish. I mean, when the U.S. Open was going on, I was completely wrapped up in like the Leylah Fernandez side of it. Obviously, here in Canada,
same, absolutely.
Like truly, Raducanu's run like that. Like I've obviously watched it back now, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like we haven't seen her fully fit since the U.S. Open. It's one injury after the next, and obviously like the coaching changes. And I don't know. I just want to see her do a full deep run because the furthest I think she's gone since then is like a 4th round at Indian Wells last year.
Last year was a surprising run in Indian Wells. She lost to Swiatek in a pretty decently contested for Swiatek level match because sometimes she can just leave you in the dust, but she didn't really do that to Raducanu. I still think about how clean her tennis was in that U.S. Open run, and I just was reminded of that from the point that she just won forehand up the line to go up 30-love, and then I'm a little bit behind on my stream, so if you guys are seeing stuff, feel free to point it out before, because Tennis Channel doesn't really like to be on the tip top of things sometimes.
I'm also watching on Tennis Channel.
Yeah. Bianca, how are you on Tennis Channel too?
No, I'm on Bet365 right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, the hoops you have to jump through to watch women's tennis.
Really?
We could do a whole episode on just how to watch tennis in the United States.
Literally.
Yeah. And it just got even more interesting for if you're listening to this and you're not in the US and you're in the UK, it got even more interesting for that community and that network of people because they switched to Sky Sports when it was a couple of years in a row. Everything was pretty much on Amazon. And I've been seeing a lot of complaints about that switch on my timeline and on my feeds and things. So
I was living in the UK when it was all on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
That I have to say, that was one of the greatest perks to living in the UK.
I can imagine.
Tennis was so accessible, and I just wish that they would do the same thing for the States because it's impossible to watch tennis here.
It shouldn't be hard with a complete channel dedicated to tennis called the Tennis Channel.
Just now, you'll guys see shortly.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, my ring light has seen better days, I guess. That's why I'm dark. Sorry. It's like burning. Oh my gosh, that's not good. This first game or first service game for Raducanu has gotten a little interesting because she was cruising and now we're at deuce. And the worst thing that she wants to do, I can imagine, is not hold and give Svitolina a break. Because Svitolina definitely, as far as confidence goes, I would imagine has the most confidence of the two. So, and she's not
far ahead of me, Miles.
See, I'm far ahead of you.
I think you're far ahead of me.
Oh no! What score do you see? Oh, that was a great point, Svitolina.
I have 40 love.
Oh wow!
On here right now.
You gotta refresh.
Oh wow! Yeah, maybe refresh it. Maybe because sometimes. Wait, how are you watching on tennis? Is it Tennis Channel Plus?
Yeah.
Oh, Tennis Channel Plus is notorious for being not just like a 15-second delay, but like almost several. I don't want to say several games, but depending on when you tap into a match, you could be a game or two behind, and that's not good.
Great. Well, I'm so glad that I'm getting my money's worth.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay, now I'm at 40-30.
Well,
but you can ignore where I am in the match. Just talk about what's happening.
Okay. I need to turn my light back on. Sorry, I'll be right back because my ring light is not happy with me.
So Bianca, where are we in this match?
We are. Well, I don't want to spoil what's happened with the game. It's
really okay.
Well, she held on, which is good. Okay. And Svitolina is serving now. And Emma has just gotten the first point, which is always good to, get that first point on your opponent's game, give you that tiny little confidence boost. Comments, Bianca's already watching the Australian Open. She's so far ahead. Yeah. I already know who won, guys. Yeah, the tennis coverage in Canada. I mean, I feel like we have a lot of good tennis, players, tournaments and stuff like that. But the coverage only comes on TSN, and it's like a toss in a hat what match you're going to get. So I doubt it would be playing even if I went on it right now.
Yeah. I know there's a theater in Toronto. I think it's the Ted Rogers Cinema that plays the Wimbledon final every year.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
My family lives in Toronto, so.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Well, note to self, we'll check that out this year. The only sports they care about, I feel, is hockey. That's it.
It's true.
I'm back. I might be a little bit more dimly lit, but I'm back.
It's fine. I've got the worst lighting out of both of y'all. I look like I'm in like a hostage.
But you have the best background. I mean, you're literally tuned into tennis. Oh, that was a pun. Emma visited her grandma each year before the pandemic. She doesn't speak English. And I'm reading a comment, by the way. Sorry, I'm not just coming up with a story. She doesn't speak English, and Emma tries her best with Romanian. I'm learning perfect British accent from Emma's interviews. Oh, that's cool, Daniela. Daniela, welcome to the comments. If you're new, feel free to subscribe. We would love to have you in the Talking Tennis community. And make sure to give the video a like if you like what we're talking about so far.
Okay, you guys, interesting turn right now. Look at that score. Have we underestimated Raducanu here a bit?
Yeah. In my mind, if I kind of call back to some of the things Raducanu did, because I actually have been watching her career post US Open kind of close. She does do this little bit. Like sometimes she's a little bit of a slow starter, but once she finds her groove, you're like, oh, there's the US Open champion. So maybe Svitolina might be dealing with a little bit of surge in that right now, but she seems to be dealing with it well because she fought back to deuce. So
ooh. You guys, I'm gonna be making noises because I'm ahead, but great shot from Emma just now.
I can't wait to see what it is. Is it a forehand or a backhand?
I won't spoil. Y'all just get to see.
That'll be in like 15 minutes for me. I assume.
Oh no. Well, it wasn't the point I just watched because Raducanu just kind of mishit a serve and sent the backhand long. Let me see if I can refresh mine anymore. My little stream. Oh, maybe I'm not.
Is there anything that you guys think Svitolina could, like what her weakness in this match is going to be?
I actually think, I've been watching Svitolina easily since 2015. And I honestly feel like right now she's playing the best tennis that I've ever seen her play.
I was going to say
absolutely.
I don't remember.
I'm not sure where the weak. I'm sure there are players that can play that have a higher level than her, but like as far as weaknesses go, she's always been a player that keeps the ball in the court at least. So it maybe just be like lack of aggression, but she's even been more aggressive than I ever remember her. So yeah,
I would say the same. 2-3 years ago, I would say her biggest weakness was being offensive on the court. But that after she went on maternity leave, it's like she's a completely different player. And I can't really pinpoint any weaknesses in her game right now.
The only thing I can say I see is I feel like she's trying really hard. Like some of these shots that she hits, I feel like they would come more naturally to other people. I feel like we can really see the effort she's putting in, and
that's a good call. She's not an effortless ball striker. No. Like she makes good contact with it, but like it always. I have this running joke when it comes to Svitolina. Sometimes her grunts are louder than the actual shot. Like it always boggles me. Sometimes I would see her grunt and the forehand would bounce inside the service line, but Everybody's
Well-
entitled to their own breath of air when they're making their ground strokes.
I don't think anyone will ever be as bad as Sharapova. So
Oh, God.
My thing with Sharapova,
unwatchable.
yeah, I didn't. I guess because I've watched her for so long, I tuned it out. You know, like I don't even. She's not even synonymous with a grunt anymore to me. Like when people bring it up, I'm like, oh yeah, she did grunt.
She didn't grunt. She screamed. Wasn't
Like,
even
she
grunting.
set us back in like making noises during tennis. We were at a point where it's like, yes, this is okay, and then she set us back.
Yeah.
Sabalenka definitely has done her
Oh.
due diligence as well.
Oh yeah, she's up there.
This might be a pivotal game, by the way, because they're going deuce ad.
And deuce ad. I don't know
Yeah.
what deuce and ad you guys are at, but
I
still
think I'm
at
at the second deuce. I think.
each shot though that Emma's getting the ad point on, it's like a crazy winner. We just need to get one more of those.
It's funny how that's the perfect part of the scoring system in tennis is like, yes, you play one good point, but typically one good point doesn't even get you out of the game. You know, like you have to string things together in tennis, and that's really difficult.
I love that aspect of it. Like one point doesn't make or break a match.
Mm-hmm. But in some ways it can, you know?
Yeah.
It's really it's a nice is dichotomy the right word to use? I don't know.
Yeah. Like I love seeing match stats at the end where the person that won less points than the person that lost.
That the match I called the other day, Osaka and Pliskova, before Pliskova served on match point, they showed a little graphic of how many points each player won, and it was 100 apiece. So it really was like one extra point that went Pliskova's way that got her that win, you know? So crazy. Our producer's asking, did Rafa win less points than Medvedev in the AO final? I have no idea. I need to rewatch that final when I have a large chunk of time.
All right.
Looks like Raducanu has a break point. The game's done for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it looks like Raducanu got out of it, if I'm looking at the score correctly.
I'm still mid-rally right now. Although Raducanu just had a really nice cross-court forehand.
That's one of her best shots, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, her cross-court forehand and down-the-line backhand are really good.
She does look like she's playing a lot more aggressively than I've seen her in the last year or so. If she can maintain that would be great.
It was the way that she was pretty intent on hugging the baseline in New York that I thought was magnificent. Like I never saw her truthfully really scrambling behind it. She was always hugging it, taking the ball early. And that's what I really loved about that run. And she is up a break early here.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to that. I just saw the totality of that game. It was a long one, but Raducanu sneaks out in front early in the match.
I'm at my fourth or fifth deuce. I don't know. So behind.
There was something I wanted to ask you guys about Svitolina. Oh yeah, this is a good time to ask since they're on the change of ends. Svitolina's current rank looks like Alejandro Davidovich Fokina is off to Melbourne, which wait, because that means Spain did lose in the United Cup, and they were in the Perth section, maybe, or the Perth part. I'm not sure. I didn't really keep up United Cup like I should have. Either way, he's off to Melbourne. I think the
though of him and in the mixed doubles, how Ego is just crushing him. I love that.
I think I'm going to pay attention during the semifinal weekend of the United Cup to see some of those mixed doubles matches because that's the best. Honestly, anytime I get to watch mixed doubles is really fun. So,
yeah.
And I like playing it in real life too. Anytime I get a group of people and it happens to be mixed dubs, that's always more fun than singles or regular dubs to me. Oh, now I don't remember what I wanted to ask you guys about Svitolina. So she's currently ranked 25 in the world. Her career high is number 3. She's on the way to Melbourne. Like, well, whether she wins or loses this match, I'm pretty sure she's going to be on her way to Melbourne, because I'm not sure if either of them are playing in the Adelaide or Hobart tournaments. I haven't heard anything about that. I guess depending on who wins or loses this match, they'll see if they add an extra tournament on their calendar. But I'm wondering with Svitolina, do you guys think that she can get back inside the top 10 on this, like, you know, other side of maternity leave venture in her career? Because she's not that far, but
I would say yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, just based on her performance in 2 out of the 4 Grand Slams last year. I mean, what was it, like quarterfinals at Roland Garros and then semifinals at Wimbledon?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Coming off of maternity leave, I haven't seen, like, first year of maternity leave, I haven't seen any other female tennis player return to that level so quickly. I mean, even Kim Clijsters, who won a slam after having kids, it took her longer than that to get back to that level. You know, we still haven't seen. I think Serena made a final after. Is that correct?
Yeah, she had a Wimbledon final a couple of months after, maybe less than a year for sure after giving birth. That's for sure.
But her and Svitolina, I think, are the quickest I've seen to come back. So and like we were saying earlier, she's a completely different player now. She's so much more aggressive, which serves her game so well. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this year she breaks into the top 10 again.
Especially I feel like the era of players, like, I'm not sure exactly what year her, like, peak was, but Serena was playing. Like, there was
That's a good question.
Like, a bit stronger of a group, and she was still higher. So I feel like easily she could get back in.
She was number 3 in September of 2017. That's when she first got there. And she won the year-end finals the next year in 2018 when it was in Singapore. The last year was in Singapore.
I think I can't remember the exact stat, but I believe she's one of the only, like, top 5, maybe top 10 players to beat, like, every number 1 player within her, like, time of being in the top 10. She's beaten all the number 1s.
Like, while they were reigning number 1s?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
I can't remember the exact stat. It was something that Jack Edward told me last
He would
season.
know,
Yeah, he would know. But she's beaten so many number 1s. She has, like, the most wins against number 1s in her career. So the
one just last year against Iga Swiatek at Wimbledon, that definitely counts. So that surprises me, but also not really. She's the exact kind of player you don't want to go up against, especially if you're having a rough day. She's going to make you work for it. So
I mean, I know it's maybe not a long shot, but, like, a little bit of one. I wouldn't even be surprised to see her win a slam in her career.
Wow. Okay, that's a different part of the like a question people have about Svitolina is, can she do it? Because she was on the cusp several times. I remember several French Opens where I was like, Svitolina, the draw gods have been very kind to you. It's up to you to just play the tennis that you can. And she just could not get over the hump. I mean, you could argue that she had a really good shot at this past Wimbledon. Like, if she beats Vondrousova, if she beats Vondrousova and Ons plays the same way she plays, then Svitolina is the champion. So
I think
thought she had a decent chance at the French. Like,
yeah, she did. Yeah,
I don't think she would have taken out Iga, but that quarterfinal run really was. Well, she took out Iga in Wimbledon, but I feel like Clay would have been a little bit of a different prospect. But you never know. You never know. But there's been some French Opens. I think she lost to Podoroska one year, which was definitely an upset. And she also lost to Krejcikova the year that Krejcikova won it. So those were losses I look back on, and I'm like, Svitolina, those draws and opportunities were there for you. But, you know, she lost to unseeded players. And that's kind of been the MO of her career. Like, definitely a good tour player will lift a 1,000 or a 500 level title pretty much every season. But at the slams, there was a little bit of a ceiling.
I think she proved at Wimbledon this past year that that she's capable. She knocked out a lot of difficult players at Wimbledon, and maybe if she'd had maybe like one or two more easy matches, she would have made it through that semifinal. But I mean, after that run, I have no doubt.
Did I go to Wimbledon 2023? I did, but 3 weeks before the tournament started. I was in England. I was like, I have to see it. So I went, I did the tour of the grounds, and then they have like a museum under there. So that was nice, but no tournament.
There's a little bit of a window here, by the way, in the match for Raducanu to go up another break too.
Double break up.
Yeah, that's not what I expected. I mean, all of three of us expected
Svitolina
to win the match. Yeah.
Svitolina looks frustrated now when she's like getting the balls from like the ball, because she's like slamming it down. She's not happy with how she's playing. So
that's probably because she expects to win this match too,
Yeah. Yeah, she might have to do some problem solving.
Oh, my stream is finally a little bit more cohesive with the score on the screen. I love that for me. Look at that. I see 30-15 and there's 30-15 there.
Oh, I'm still 3 points behind.
I'm still ahead. I know how the game ends already.
Wait, you know how this 3-1 game ends? Wait, are you being sarcastic?
No.
Oh my gosh. What streamer do you have?
That's what you guys, I'm on Bet365.
Is Bet365 something you have to like subscribe for too, or is that like a workaround?
You just make an account. Like it really is for like sports betting, which I don't do at all, but it's a great way to watch. Like they have basically every match and you can bet on it, but you just make an account and then they play the matches. There is no commentary on them, which I do.
That's wonderful.
But when I'm doing this, it's great that there's no one else talking.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna have to, but there's no payment involved at all?
You have to like put like something down. Like I think I put like $10 down, which I've never used it. It's there. And then you get a free account. Interesting.
Okay. I'll have to look at that because I love the way that it's up to date. And Raducanu is up to date as well. She's ahead in this match 4-1 up a double break. Yeah. That's a little bit surprising, especially for all three of us. We picked Svitolina to pretty comfortably win the match. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be a double bagel or anything like that, but 6-4, 6-3, maybe a 7-5 set. Yeah.
She still might claw back. You never know. I mean, she had to do similar things in her match against Azarenka, so you never know.
Emma's last match against, who was it against?
Elina Gabriela Ruse, depending on how you correctly pronounce that.
It was a similar start. Emma was like rolling, and then it kind of started running away from her in the second set, and then it came back around. So hopefully it can be smoother, because I went to bed at like 4 a.m. that night, so I don't want to do that tonight. Hopefully she can just straight sets it if she's going to win tonight.
Hopefully. Sorry, I'm trying to mess with my ring light again.
This ring light just doesn't want you to.
Does it? I've never experienced it like overheating or something. I don't know. Maybe it's time for a new one.
Yeah.
Do we have any?
I am just responding to a comment.
Do we have any predictions for the upcoming Open on the women's side?
I think open is the operative word because I have no idea.
I was gonna say, I just learned to just go in and like throw something at the wall and see what sticks. Every time I make like a prediction video, I'm just like, not even one part of it is right. So
yeah, I'll have to see how for the women's draw. Yeah, I have to see how the draw shakes out to see who can actually take advantage of the draw gods being on their side. You know how they say that. So I mean, I think Swiatek is a favorite, but we have seen her kind of get flustered on hard courts, and I think she is more susceptible to a big hitter if a big hitter is near her to kind of get not pushed around but just rushed. So we'll see. And then Sabalenka is defending champion. We've seen her play well on those courts, very well. So
You think she'll defend?
No. When was the last? Sorry, Sabalenka. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it, but like, when was the last woman we've seen defend a major title?
And it ain't gonna be her. I love her.
It was Swiatek, yeah.
It was Iga, yeah.
It was Iga. But that makes a difference. Like that 1 and 2 spot that they're in, like it's so small, but it's also so big. Because if it was Iga, I would say yeah, she has a better chance of defending it because she's done that before. Whereas Sabalenka, this is kind of some uncharted territory for her. So
I think she had a bit of she got knocked down a bit, but with her confidence after the U.S. Open final as well. I'm very confident in my picking abilities now because I was one of the few in our little popcorn community who picked Coco to win. So I'm still on a high from that. But I feel like Sabalenka felt pretty down on herself after that loss. So I don't really know what she's going to look like coming into this Open.
She's still mentioning it in press. Like,
of course she is. Of course she is.
Yeah. And that was like last Labor Day, Sabalenka. Like, you've had time to. I mean, granted, who are we to be like, get over your major losses? Because sometimes it does take a while to get over things, but it probably doesn't bode well that she's in 100% the right headspace, and she's bringing it up in post-match interviews. So I don't know.
Well, nothing hurts more than being beat by a teenager.
On that semi.
But it wasn't like, I mean, I do understand that she wanted to win that one, but it wasn't like she lost to somebody that was not supposed to win the U.S. Open. Like Coco had won 2 tournaments leading in, so she should tell herself.
The storyline.
She should tell herself that it's not like you lost to Sarah Ceribes Tormo and sorry, Sarah Ceribes Tormo fans, but I mean that would have been something I hung my head on. Like, wow,
it's like ons that women.
Yes.
Like, what do you mean you're losing to Marketa Vondrousova? No.
Yeah, who had barely won grass court matches anywhere, let alone 7 at Wimbledon. So yeah. Maybe somebody should tell her that, like, hey, you could have lost to Vondrousova at Wimbledon. So count your blessings.
I mean, Sabalenka is the type of player that seems to take everything very personally on the court and off the court. And I think, losing to a first-time slam winner, a 19-year-old, an American winning on home court, like there's just so many things that I can kind of understand why that would like really mess with her confidence. But I also agree, like, move on. Next tournament, like,
that video of her smashing the racket afterwards went like mega viral. Like sometimes things that in this space, and then people were like tying that back to the like Laura Siegmund stuff, saying she's like ungrateful, upset that Coco won, and I'm like, okay, this is running away from us now.
When the super casuals started making their super hot takes, it's like, you watch tennis 2 times a year. Your hot takes really aren't that informed.
Dude, that was crazy. When Coco, after the Siegmund match and after Coco won, so many people in my life who do not watch tennis were coming to me and being like, wow, have you heard about this?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I watched it when it happened.
But I do love that, though. I love when tennis has those moments. We need more of them, really. Because
then there's people like giving think pieces on it. I'm like, okay, now you really have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to it. But I do like when tennis kind of bursts. Yeah, when it bursts through the ecosystem. I really do love that.
Especially women's tennis.
Yes. Agreed.
The only other thing I can think of this year in women's tennis that really like did that was I don't even remember her name now. It was the player that erased the ball mark.
Oh my God, her last name was Paul. T-O-T-H.
Tall. Yeah.
It was
someone else at work and asked me about that. I'm like, I don't even know who that is, but I do know that. Yeah.
That was really messed up. I do remember that. But it wasn't even a big tournament, right? It was like a smaller, like
it was the post Wimbledon clay swing that nobody really watches, really.
Yeah.
Like intently. Let's look back into the match. Wow, Raducanu's up 5-1. So she consolidated that double break, and she is in strong command of this first set.
She saved a break point good as well.
That's something. I guess maybe that Svitolina, to tie back to I think what you were saying earlier, Bianca, Svitolina does look very annoyed. She kind of has her shoulders slump a little bit. Raducanu is breathing well. She's going for it on her ground strokes. Maybe sometimes if she is carrying a little bit of a something on that thigh, hopefully it's just preventative and not something that she picked up through training in her first match. But sometimes that can kind of make you even more alert and aggressive because you can't do the typical grind. You kind of have to be more aggressive. So
get it over with. Yeah. Have any of you guys seen the outfits that Nike and Adidas and all them have started putting out for the Australian Open?
Unfortunately.
No, but I'm very excited.
I feel like
Ooh, sorry.
Room and they're like, how can we make it worse than last year?
Yeah. They literally just like went to a color wheel and just like picked a color and just splattered it. Yeah.
When was the last time we had good like tennis fashion for like consistently?
2021.
I was gonna say 2021.
I love Bianca. I love that you're ready with a date. Like Oh, it was 2021.
Yeah, that 2021, the 2021 kits that they all wore during the US Open. Yep, those were nice. And the 2020 kit, the 2020 kit at the US Open was really nice too. Remember when Azarenka had that hot pink kind of retro two-piece on in the final? Yeah. And then Osaka had like the bodysuit that was like color what's the word? Color blocked? Yeah, those were some nice outfits. So far it's been a little choppy. The men have been okay, I guess, ish.
I did like some of the outfits from last year, but they were mostly anything that Tiafoe was wearing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of when I said
men can pull off anything.
I thought those were kind of fun.
Yeah, both of the muscle shirts that Carlos and Tiafoe wore at the US Open were nice. But I mean, it's also them, like if Zverev had that on.
Don't even mention that man.
Sorry. But he did try to rock the muscle shirt for a while. I
really wish he would stop.
Cut that hair, like it's.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Cut the hair, lose the necklaces. Like, what does he think this is? I was at the US Open and I saw his match against Carlos.
Oh, really?
That was the quarterfinal. Yeah, I was in the stands for that.
You must have loved that one because he got banked off the court. Got
walloped, yeah. No, that was great, but I was too scared to celebrate fully because the people sitting behind me were like a group of men who were very excited about Zverev.
Oh no.
And that was just such that didn't feel safe to me, so I didn't want to cheer too loud when he lost.
That reminds me of when I was in the stands for Serena versus Tomljanovic. There was most of the stadium, and luckily the people I was around were pro Serena, but there was like two couples right in front of me that were definitely team Tomljanovic, and they tried their best to.
They didn't even know her name before they went in the stadium.
They tried their best to like be discreet, but I peeped it. It is okay to support Tomljanovic, though. I'm not anti-Tomljanovic, but in that particular match, I wasn't rooting for her.
Yeah, and it's not okay to support Zverev for anyone out there who's listening. It is not okay to support him.
Choose better.
Literally anyone else. Pick any other German tennis player, and you're fine.
I wonder if Raducanu's trying to push to get this set over with now because they're back in a pretty tenuous deuce ad game here. So
why not?
Is there anything that Svitolina can do differently in this match? Like, where do we see her mistakes?
She is getting a couple of free points more than usual. Like, I haven't seen the unforced error count come up, but I've seen a couple of shots go wayward. Like, she just gave a double fault again. And I think this is like her second or third of one of the match. And those are things that I normally don't associate with her because she'll get the serve in, So you can cut down on that for sure. And I guess it kind of goes hand in hand, but her body language is a little bit down and dopey, which is definitely feeding into Raducanu right now. So
yeah,
that's what I would tell her.
Usually really good with like the self-talk and confidence. I'm not really seeing any of that happening right now. Fist bumps, nothing like that. And Gael's in the crowd, so he's got to get up.
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking, Gael, what are you doing?
I think they balance each other out so well.
Oh, well.
I love them.
I do think they do that.
Sometimes, like,
They're
what do they
my
even talk about
favorite.
when they're together? They seem so opposite.
I don't know. Maybe that's
sometimes that can
probably
be
a
good.
lot. Yeah, probably a lot because they're. I mean, at this point they're married, so I'm sure I would hope they've done the getting to know you stage. But they probably had a lot to talk about because their worlds were so different. You know, they kind of were educating each other about like their, I don't know, their environments and cultures and stuff because they're just very different. So,
but I think they've had some similarities in their careers. And I think that might really help.
they've both been touted to be Grand Slam champions in their career, that's for sure. And both of them, unfortunately, have come up short so far. So they have that in common. And they've both, I'm pretty
Svitolina still has time. I just want to say,
Yeah.
she's like my age. She's
Yeah.
27, 28. She still has time.
It's true. It just feels like sometimes, I don't, especially now, like if you would have asked me 5 years ago, would Svitolina win a major? I would have probably been more confident in saying yes. But now there's even more that she has to compete with now. Like back then she was competing with Halep and Kerber, and maybe Muguruza, but now she's competing with Kerber's back now, but she's competing with Kerber, Swiatek, Sabalenka, Coco, Wozniacki's back. Like, I mean, the rest of the top 10 is not, you know, they're not scrubs either. Like Pagula's beaten her, I think, before. Muhova, Krejcikova, like all of these players have gone deep at slams, just like she has too. So if she goes up against them, it's 50-50 maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't be totally surprised if she completes a career with no Grand Slam, but I also wouldn't be super surprised if we, you know, look up in 2024 and she's lifting a slam. So, you know.
You know, it's funny because I've been a fan of hers for years, but you know, 2-3 years ago, when she was maybe at her peak at 3 in the world, I wouldn't have said she was in the running to win a slam, because as often as I did see her, you know, beating world number ones and, you know, doing really well on the tour, I didn't think she had that extra push to win a slam. But for some reason, she has it now. So that to me, like I'm kind of the opposite. I didn't see it before, but I see it now. And like, yeah, I think a lot of things would have to fall into place for her to win a slam now. She would have to get a really good draw. Somebody would have to get knocked out, which you know, in women's tennis you never know what's going to happen. So a lot of things would have to fall into place for her, but I definitely think it's possible.
She'd have to get a run like Raducanu at Rome, where it was like retirement. I
forgot about that.
That was crazy.
I was just like score watching, and I saw Elina Kalina's name, and I was like, wow, she made a Masters 1000 final. I don't think I would have put that on my vision board for 2023, but it happened. So, is anyone noticing the slight difference between the rackets of Svitolina and Raducanu?
No.
They're technically endorsing the same racket, and I say endorsing because sometimes there's all kind of different technology and previous rackets and stuff underneath the cosmetics and paint jobs of it. But Svitolina is swinging the most recent, or like kind of yet to be released later in the year version, and Raducanu is swinging the one from 2022. I believe, yeah. So from 2022. So it's interesting because I would have in my mind, I don't know if you guys agree with this, but in my mind, Raducanu's still the bigger star, even though she's less accomplished than Svitolina. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's interesting that she didn't get the like latest of the latest when it comes to the gear, but Svitolina did. So
well, I mean, yeah, maybe she is the bigger star, but Svitolina had a much more successful season, and you know, she had a comeback, and companies love comebacks.
A story, yeah, something to like, you know, get behind. So
yeah.
Okay, interesting turn happening now for me.
What's going on?
Well, we're looking at break points for a break back.
Okay. I'm here for it. Let's do it. I'm still at 5-2, 15 all.
Love tennis. Don't you love it?
I love it. It's great.
Well,
It's
thank God for that insurance break she got.
Thank God for the what?
For the insurance break she got, the double break.
Yeah.
Is Svitolina wearing Adidas shoes? I can't tell. It doesn't look like those are Adidas shoes. I don't know. I can't tell. Sorry, I focus on sometimes the most random things in tennis matches.
I mean, I love tennis fashion. I like to know who their sponsors are, what brands they wear, even though I don't really wear anything myself.
Yeah, I haven't bought I haven't seen anything that. Oh, there we go. No, I'm lit again. I haven't seen anything that made me run to go and buy a part of someone's tennis kit in a while. But I like talking about it and looking at it. So
the only thing I really wanted, which I don't even know if they sell it anymore, is Sabalenka's dress that she won the Australian Open in. I love that one. It's the same print.
I really liked what Raducanu wore to Indian Wells. I don't know if anyone remembers that. It was.
I do.
It kind of had this like mountain. It was like a desert palette. It had like mountains on it. It was so cute. I have a mug that is that exact palette.
With Adidas.
I remember that, and I was actually surprised that Adidas. I don't want to say they let her go, but essentially she's not with them anymore. But that was surprising because she had a case for being their biggest star at the time on the women's tour because she had won the most recent major, and they let her go to Yonex. So I thought that was interesting. And Yonex Yonex is a great quality tennis brand, but more so on the equipment gear side, not so much apparel. This is cute, I want to buy it side.
Well, maybe they offered her a better deal.
Yeah, I know money talks. Like if she's like, I mean, Raducanu looks to me like the person like, yeah, Adidas was cute, but if you're offering me double that, then I'll put it on.
Yeah, so. I mean, remember when Federer went from Nike to Uniqlo?
I was just thinking that. Nike was like, those are big. Like, how did we let that happen?
Yeah. And it's because Uniqlo was like, we'll pay you
double
$4 million a year for the rest of your life.
Like, how do you say no
quit
to that?
Tennis?
Yeah. Some things you just can't pass up. Somebody was talking on my timeline just a couple days ago. By the way, Svitolina is definitely the person with the momentum.
Right
because
now,
she's crawled back to 4-5. And she held it love to go up to get back to 4-5. So yeah. That's interesting, but to wrap up,
I said she'll crawl back. You
did say it. You did say it. You had the faith. You had the faith. To wrap up or to put a button on what I was thinking about with the fashion stuff, there was conversation happening about Coco going to a quote unquote bigger brand like Nike, and I don't think that she should do that, especially now, because I think New Balance believed in her before she was a Grand Slam champion, and if for her to just jump ship to Nike just because it was Nike wouldn't be great. It would have to be like Nike gave her an offer she could not refuse for her family and for generational wealth and all that stuff, which ultimately that makes sense too. But if they just gave her a quote unquote normal deal, I wouldn't take it, especially because Nike has a lot of people and New Balance.
You would get mixed with it. And would they have had those shirts ready? You can call me champion.
Right. Who knows? Yeah. And she's with Rolex too, like Rolex and New Balance and Barilla. Actually, if anybody's listening to this that has the hookup at what is it called? The people that make Tupperware, Glad, or the Tupperware brand, they're missing a huge endorsement. Coco.
Yes, oh my God, you're right. The fruit.
Yeah, they're missing a huge endorsement deal. Like they should have been calling her after the U.S. Open, like, "Hey, we saw you're using our products. Like, you should be making. There should be a commercial happening right now."
They need a better social media intern because
if anybody's listening, I would gladly take that job. I would gladly take it. I would if I worked for Glad, I would have been DMing Coco the next day, like probably that night. Like, hey girl, what's up? I saw you using our stuff. You know, we can talk about numbers, but you should definitely be endorsing our product.
You know, do maybe a little ad, like. How is it not happening?
Oh my gosh, I could make the creative for the commercial, all of that stuff. I got you. I got you.
I didn't realize that there were talks of Coco moving over to Nike. But I honestly, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if she jumped, because Nike loves to sort of snatch up American athletes. And, you know, with the thinking of the American athletes that they've had that have been kind of their biggest people, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like Serena, Venus, wait, did they represent the Williams sisters, or was that Adidas?
It was just Serena.
It was just Serena.
Yeah, Nike never got Venus, or Venus never got Nike, however way you want to put that.
Let's say that Nike never got Venus. Let's say that. Let's say that.
She has her own brand. She's doing her thing.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she's been wearing her own stuff, and it actually does really, really well. So,
but yeah, thinking of all the American athletes they've had, it makes perfect sense why they would go after Coco. But I kind of agree that she should stay with New Balance for now. Maybe if she wins another slam.
Like the face of New Balance athletes.
Yeah, Nike. She is. And that's something you don't really just, even if it doesn't come with the highest price tag, there's a certain level of power in that. Like, hey, I kind of helped you guys get into this sphere. So, if you have the budget, give me a little bit more.
Who else does New Balance represent?
They had been Shelton, but On Sports got him, and now they have Tommy Paul and Sorana Kirstea. That's the only two I can think of that rock New Balance consistently. So it's really just Coco.
If there's talks of that, I bet New Balance will renegotiate with her or something.
Huge point here, by the way. 30 all, 5-4 Raducanu serving again to get this first set underneath her belt. So it's a huge point right here.
And Svitolina's in control.
I'm still at love 15. I can't relate.
I was just talking about what I saw on my screen. Don't worry. My feed just got to 30 all, so I'm about to watch the point in real time.
Great.
I'm at 40. Well, I got to split with you guys. I'm at 30-40, so Svitolina has break point right now.
All right.
The anticipation. Emma's going to be kicking herself if she allows this to get to 5 all.
How many games in a row has she lost now? 4?
3.
3?
Yeah. Oh, that looked like a double on that 30 all point. That's like a really good, like a clear double, but they didn't call it. And Emma definitely finished the point out with an error. So
Svitolina has crawled her way back.
Svitolina's doing the fist pumps. Her momentum is there.
Yeah,
that's something.
She's here now. She's
yeah.
Guile is standing.
Hell yeah.
Emma had to change the chance and she didn't.
Isabel, you called it. You said she was going to come back.
I love Svitolina.
Oh, now she's pushing Emma back. She's hugging the baseline, and Emma's just running left to right.
I think this is the thing, the big switch that I've seen in Svitolina, not just in her offensive play, but her ability to problem solve is getting quicker every time. So yeah, in just 3 games, she's been able to figure out, this is what I need to do. And I don't think I saw that in her a year ago, maybe.
This sounds
even in some of the tournaments last year, I didn't see that. It was really just at Wimbledon I started to notice. Sorry, what did you say, Miles?
No, I was going to say this thought came to my head. It's a little bit cliche, but they say it sometimes with the women that have come back on tour after giving birth, that like you have different perspective, especially when things aren't going your way on a tennis court. You start thinking about ways to like minimize how frustrating it can be. And then before you know it, like you're back in the saddle because you've not allowed yourself to spiral, because you know things could be much worse, or you prioritize things like this is just a tennis match. I have more to get frustrated about. Like just go out and play what you know you can do. And sometimes that does allow you to be freer, and before you know it, you're on top in the match. So maybe that's what happened. Who knows?
I hope that's what happens for Naomi. I feel like she's so much more positive now than when she, left, and I feel that could help her greatly.
Yeah, I hope so. She got such a raw deal from
she did
the media and like tennis officials. Like it was so.
Most people know her. Most people know her for like 3 major things, and all 3 of those things kind of had like negative stuff associated with it. I'm talking about the Serena Williams match. Like we all know the controversy that happened there. Then at the US Open again with her wearing the mask in honor of the people that were lost due to police brutality, the Black Lives Matter movement. People definitely weren't feeling her for that, and she went on to win that tournament. And then at the French Open, when she decided that she wasn't in a great mental space to do the press conferences, all 4 of the Grand Slams were like, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to fine you and take you out of our tournament. It was like, you guys, at that point, they barely were even talking to each other to get the scoring system cohesive. And they got together to tell her, but they came together to tell her that she had to do press conferences. Like, what's more important, like your tournaments being cohesive or one tennis player not doing one press conference, So,
well, and after some of the press conferences I've seen with female tennis players, like I don't blame her at all. Oh my God. I mean, if she doesn't want to do media, then they have to figure out a way to get better journalists into the press room. Like a lot of those people, like they don't even ask about the match. They ask about their personal lives. And it's just the women too. They ask the dumbest questions. Some of them don't even know what the outcome of the matches are. Like that happens so often, and it's pathetic. Like I'm totally on her side that way. And if tennis officials want her in there, then they have to make changes to the media room.
It was a huge overreaction because it wasn't like, I think with her platform at the time, I think better journalists would definitely help.
Better journalists, actual tennis journalists
that care about the sport and are enamored with it, not just the hottest newspaper or the most established newspaper sending people to give us headlines and trying to get the catchiest one. But I think it was a huge overreaction, really. It wasn't like she was saying that she's done with press conferences for the rest of her entire existence as a tennis player. She was like, hey, I'm not feeling great right now, and I can't do the question thing. So what have you? I mean, hopefully they've learned from that. It does seem like the tennis,
I think they have.
At least those 4 Grand Slams they seem on more one accord. Like they post similar things. Like they just seem like they're the most cohesive they've ever been, which is saying something, because at one point they were very fractured. So
I think even now, Sabalenka, she did skip a press conference during the French Open, and I don't remember that much about it. It was like, that's okay.
And it also made sense too, because she was getting hammered by journalists about the Ukraine and versus Russia and Belarusian war. And like, I can see to a certain extent her using her platform as a public figure and athlete to say something, but ultimately she's not like the person at the core of that at all. So her taking the brunt was just kind of ridiculous. So it was just, they were really bullying her there. It really made no sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think they need to stop asking athletes for their opinions on political events in general, because it's like, what do you expect them to say?
I think there's a way.
They're athletes. They don't have much to say.
I mean, I think that's giving them a little less credit than they deserve, because I think some of these athletes are smart and they do have opinions, and they're just like us, except they have really popular figures attached to them because they're beloved athletes and sports figures. But I think there's a way you can tastefully get into that conversation without making them feel like they're the politician or they're the spokesperson for their country. And that's what it felt like they were making Sabalenka out to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, she's a person. She said she didn't support the war. What else would you like her to say? Like, she can't go stop it, you know? So
I think I think a lot of journalists are also not taking into account, and this is by no means picking a side in this political event, because that's not what we're doing here. But I do think they're not taking into consideration that a lot of these tennis players who are Russian and Belarusian like still have family in those areas and probably can't speak openly about how they feel about it, because that might put them or their families in danger. And I think a lot of journalists are not thinking about that, and it's not really the fair.
Yeah, good point. Good point for sure. Well, Svitolina has now made that 5 games in a row and is taking a 6-5 advantage.
Yes.
I gotta start pressing here. Like, I feel like her foot came off the gas a bit, and she just got blown away by what just happened in the last 5 games. And she's like, now.
Yeah, Raducanu does look a little flustered. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah. Funnily enough, my stream has now caught up
Did it skip some games or something? Or
I don't know, but something happened, and like right as you said that is when the score changed on my screen. So somehow I've gotten a little ahead. Do you think this will go to a tiebreak, or?
I would not be surprised if Svitolina continues the stretch and makes that 6 games in a row, or 5 games in a row.
I think Emma will resettle right now and get this game.
6 games in a row, because technically that would be a bagel. She wins 6 games, and if she wins this game now, there'll be 6 games in a row. So somebody put me onto this term in tennis, which I'm still loving. It's called a hidden bagel, like when you win those 6 games in a row, but not necessarily from the beginning of the set. It would be 6 games in a row if she wins here, because she was down 1-5, so it would be 7-5, so that would be 6, I think. Yeah, hey Jamari. Hey Jamari. I thought she was down 1-5. I thought Raducanu was serving forward at 1-5. Maybe I'm making that up. 2-5. Okay, got it.
All right, well, she's up 40-love on my screen, so she's stopping the bleeding right now.
Oh, yeah, really. That first point is a really awesome forehand. I love a running forehand.
Yeah.
When Raducanu stays low, she's really good at that. Man, tennis is so fascinating, because in any other sport, if you had distanced yourself from your opponent that much, like a 5-1 deficit, it would have been like it would have been over with for that particular quarter or set, but not in tennis. You know, it's crazy.
It's like when I tell someone, "Oh, I'm watching this match," like, "Oh, when it'll be over."
You'd never know.
I know.
Hour 5, I'll just let you know.
Like, even if somebody's down a set in 3-love or something, you can't run out the clock the way you can in football, basketball, or some other sports. Like, you can leave the stadium and kind of get an idea that this person's going to win, check your phone, see that they won, and still feel like you didn't miss anything. But in tennis, if you leave, you can miss a lot, you know? So
yeah. Gosh, that was like when I was watching the last Australian Open, Rublev versus Rune, and I feel like it was
that was a great match.
He
was up some crazy, like 5 points in the tiebreak. I was like, I'm going to sleep, and then I woke up the next day and I was like, what happened?
That sounds like a Rublev match.
Yeah, I had something similar with that match. I think I was out somewhere, and I like checked the score on my phone, and I was like, all right, I won't rush home. And then I got home late later that evening, and it was still on. I was like, oh, all right. I guess I'll watch the end of this. That was such a good match, though.
Jamari's in the chat asking about or talking about ruining his sleep schedule for the Australian Open. And same here.
Don't we all? It's just the way you start the year.
Yeah. And then it all resettles.
Yeah. At least they give us a month between Australia and Indian Wells to kind of get our bearings straight.
Yeah.
I didn't think this would go to a tie break, but here we are.
I'm here for it.
A lot more aggression from Emma, which is good.
Whose side are you on, Bianca?
I'm like a notorious, like, I'll just like, that's how I'm feeling. I'll watch the match, I'll be like, I'm rooting for this person for sure. And then it goes on, like, wait, okay, yeah, I kind of like how this other person's playing. Except for when it's like my absolute favorite players, then I'm writing for them only.
Who are your absolute favorite players?
I was just going to ask.
Yeah.
Like active players, it's Sabalenka. I know I'm putting myself through a lot of pain. She's my favorite. And Alcaraz, Nadal. Those are the ones I keep up with most of the time.
Very fair. Very fair.
And I have a lot of Serbian friends, so they really love to just like rub the
Oh boy. I don't have too many Serbian friends, nor do I have too many Serbian friends online.
No, they're like intense.
They give it to me good.
But they worship him. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, he might be president of that country someday.
Would not be surprised at all.
One of his side quests. He seems to know every language. Why not just try to be president?
He's going to try his best to extend that Grand Slam race so that no person ever in the history of tennis can touch it, and then he'll be president of Serbia. Super fun. Would love that to happen. Dripping in sarcasm.
Do we think he's going to get number 11?
Probably.
Can we not even? I'm sorry. I've never been on the Djokovic train, and every year he just just sticks the knife further into my heart. I just can't anymore.
Yeah, I've gotten some lashings on Twitter for sharing my opinions on how I'm not team Nole.
Same. Yeah, I've been blocked by some notorious Djokovic stans on the internet.
What are you talking about?
Wait, this is kind of interesting, by the way. As Raducanu, I think that was Svitolina that gave her an error just now. You guys notice that they're lines people at this tournament? Like they're still calling out and in, and then they have the traditional challenge system. Mm-hmm. I thought that was interesting because I didn't notice it at first, but now I'm noticing it. And I wonder where they are in terms of kind of, I don't want to say getting with the program, but also getting with the program and having electronic live Hawkeye line calling.
I don't know. I would assume they don't want to implement it until they absolutely have to.
I think the pandemic definitely forced people's hands. And once people saw that it was effective and kind of business as usual, the excuses to not have it kind of dwindled up a little bit. So
I went down a different path with that. I would think that the tournaments that make more money have the technology, and that's the smaller, I don't want to say women's tournaments, but usually the women's tournaments that don't make as much money probably still have lines people for that reason. But I could be wrong about that.
No, that's very fair.
Like the drama of it when it gets called wrong and then they have to review it, and then I don't know, instead of no challenges, I don't know, I kind of like the little element.
I know, I love a challenge moment. It's great.
Raducanu is stabilized, by the way. She's upped herself for the challenge. She's up 5-2 in this tiebreak, which I don't know. I've been feeling one way or the other. The momentum swings in this first set have kind of all caught me off guard. At the beginning, I did not think Raducanu was going to jump out to that lead, and once she was at that lead, I didn't think that Svitolina would kind of claw back. And now that she did, Raducanu's tipped her nose in the front of the tiebreak. So.
Who would it be worse for to lose this set right now?
That's a great question. I think it would be worse for Svitolina.
Yeah.
Because she did the hard work to kind of claw back, only to get to the tiebreak and potentially lose it, would be a little deflating, you know?
Yeah, I'd agree.
Anime dude says Selena did all of that just to lose. Not quite yet, but you know, she's down 3-5 in the tiebreak.
She's crawling her way back still.
I mean, I've seen Svitolina do this before, where she loses the first set and then has some kind of crazy comeback in the second. But I don't know.
You can never count her out,
She's
that's for
making me
sure.
nervous.
She's a fighter.
All
We're
right,
quiet. We're all like
We're
watching.
all really intense.
Point where I'm at. That point now.
Any point could really swing it. Every point matters here and out.
That's where like what we were talking about earlier, where like sometimes in tennis, like a point doesn't really make or break a match, but I think in tie breaks, it really does. Like that's what makes it so nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It's so different from playing regular games.
And you're hardly ever safe in a tiebreak. Unless you're up 6-love in a tiebreak, you're really never quite safe.
Yeah.
Especially in those 10-point tie breaks at the end of sets.
Oh my gosh. I hate those.
Thought she won already against Madison Keys and then had to keep playing.
Yeah. I love those, but I'd hate to be in a player's shoes. Oh, that was an amazing drop shot from Raducanu to bring up set point. That was amazing. She just deaded all the pace off the ball. Yeah, that was great hand skills.
I was not paying attention just now, but I think she just hit a double fault to lose set points. So
yeah, they've been some double faults and inopportune moments in these matches.
I see that a lot with the young players.
I think because they look at the moments as so big because there's a lack of experience there. So like when you think of a moment as so big, it can kind of get into your mind, especially when you hold the power to start the point, you know?
She's just done another great drop shot to regain the set point. Got to utilize that more. That's what I noticed in her last match. She's quite good at the net.
Raducanu is? Raducanu looks to be working with a coach, a woman coach, by the way, which is I love to see in women's tennis. We need more of that because they keep panning to the coaching section, I believe, and it's 2 women, so that's good to see.
Yeah, I feel like we don't really see that on the tour as a whole, but on the women's tour as well, there's not a lot of them being coached by women, which I feel like would be nice to see.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some. The only one I can think of is Lindsay Davenport, but I don't believe she's coaching anymore.
No. Well, she's actually that was a great drop shot to finish the set. A nice little yell from Raducanu. Yeah, she had nice hands in the forecourt there. That was an impressive way to close off all of that momentum that Svitolina had.
Yeah.
Because she could have easily lost that set easily. Wow. So she wins the first set 7 games to 6 in the tiebreak. But to the point about women's coaching, I can't think of any top women that have a woman coach as well. Murray had Maresmo. Swiatek has her sports psychiatrist that's a woman. She's always often in the space.
She's with her 24/7, it seems.
I can't think of anybody else though. Yeah. Oh, Lindsay Davenport. That's where my mind was. She's now the captain of the USA Billie Jean King Cup team. So she's technically still coaching, but not in a traditional on the tour sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Maresma was also coaching Luca Pui for a minute before
she was. Good
and
call.
He played really well when she was coaching him. He had a nice run, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. But I mean, speaking of coaching in Raducanu, she should try to find some stability and consistency in picking something, because it has been kind of a roller coaster ever since that US Open. I don't think anything's wrong with getting different direction, but I do believe in allowing the direction to lead you somewhere for a while before you decide that it's for or not for you. Because I don't even think she was doing like 90-day trials with these coaches. Like they were in there for a while and then they weren't, and they were there for a while and then they weren't. So there was no consistency.
My assessment of that first set, I think it should have been done at 6-3, but I'm glad she finished it in the end. And hopefully she can just keep the level that she had at the start and at the end over into this set.
Hopefully. Did she call for it? I don't see anything like that. I don't see anybody that has left the court, because I was wondering if she may have called for the trainer to like touch up her tape or something like that. Oh, why did I mess up my perfectly fine ring light again?
You and this ring light, Miles.
This is not.
She wants the night off.
It really does. I lightly tapped it to make sure it wasn't overheating, and I turned it off. Great job, Miles. Oh well, Amazon has 12,000 trillion ring lights. I can just buy another one. Whatever. Any predictions on this second set, guys?
I'm kind of hoping that Svitolina can maintain, just like you were saying, Bianca, but with Raducanu, I'm kind of hoping that Svitolina can maintain the momentum that she gained after winning 5 games in a row or whatever it was. So I think if she can keep that level and maybe push even further, she might have a chance at winning the second set.
Anime Dude says, I don't see Raducanu keeping this up. She loses here, Svitolina wins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think Raducanu had to put a little bit of an extra gear in play to close out that first set. So we'll see. I mean, I think it definitely does merit the conversation, because Svitolina has been playing more tour matches. So sometimes when you put all that effort out and you haven't really been tested, like Svitolina has been max tested, it comes back to bite you. So we'll see. That's a good call, Anime Dude. But there's something to be said for winning the first set and having that momentum and kind of having it pocketed behind you so you can play freely in the second.
Now Emma has break points to save.
See?
I feel like is that how we started the first game in this match? She had break points to save, and then she won 4 games in a row.
Yeah, I think something like that. I think Svitolina broke her early. No, actually, I think it was the opposite. Raducanu broke Svitolina early.
I don't know if you guys can see this on your screen, but I keep seeing birds flying over the courts.
Yes.
I do. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I do keep seeing
that. Birds scene is going on here right now.
Auckland does have very interesting conditions, to put it mildly. Last year was kind of a mess. They had to play some matches indoors because of the rain, but it is off the coast of Australia, and Australia itself has some interesting weather and animals and conditions. So, did you guys see that that snake. I think it was in the middle of the Dominic Thiem match in Brisbane, the qualifying match. They had a snake come on court, and they had to like gather up the troops to get it off. It was some poisonous.
Oh my God.
Snake.
And people are like, "Oh my God, you should go to Australia. There aren't any like dangerous animals in the cities." Lies.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Stop lying to me.
Australia does look lovely, but sometimes those clips with snakes and kangaroos ready to choke you out and stuff, it does make you a little scared.
Kangaroos squaring up.
Yeah, they really do that in real life. That's crazy. Yeah, Raducanu can take the pace coming at her really well. That's something. Wait, is that long yellow? Oh, that's not the snake. I thought that long yellow thing was a snake. I was like, oh my God, it's even bigger than I thought.
I've come face to face with a poisonous snake before, and I have no interest in doing that again. So Australia can stay off my travel list. And that happened in Los Angeles. So
what's the name of that?
Birds.
What's the name of that famous hike in LA? Runyon? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Runyon Canyon. I enjoyed that. I really, really enjoyed my hike there. It's been some years, but I have to get back.
It is very pretty over there. But it's a little populated.
Yeah. Is that where you are? You're in LA?
Yeah.
Cool.
But I'm nowhere near Runyon Canyon.
All right. Well, Svitolina is starting great in this set. She's got the break.
Is that a note from Russell Fuller on our screen? Let's see. Raducanu takes the first set in Auckland on a tiebreak against world number 25, Elina Svitolina, playing very well. Nice use of the drop shot and did not allow herself to be scared by losing 4 games in a row from 5-1 up. Yeah, that's a nice summary there, Russell Fuller.
Is this really her second match in 9 months?
Yeah.
She stopped.
Second round match? Really?
I want to say she stopped playing after Stuttgart. I want to say her last match was in Stuttgart because she lost to Bianca Andreescu in Miami, and I think she played a match or two in Stuttgart, and that was it. And then she had the surgeries, and now this is her first tournament back. So yeah, and Stuttgart is in April.
This is her second tournament in 9 months, not her second match in 9 months.
I guess depending on when they start the 9 months, it kind of makes sense. If it was like in March, April, it was April-ish, and that's like the 4th month of the year, and now we're back in January. And yeah, I guess. I don't know. Math is not my strong suit. No one take what I'm saying as fact.
Mari says, yep, she lost to Ostapenko in Stuttgart, which was her last match. So this is good for being the second match. I mean, from the first match, I was like, these are good signs. I was really glad to see that from her and Nadal and Osaka. Like, okay, we can all still play.
Wait, did you guys see that post somebody put together on Twitter? Because it looked like Djokovic congratulated or like shouted each of those players out and said, welcome back. He did it for Nadal, Osaka, and Raducanu. And somebody said if they all lose their next match, we know why. And Osaka lost her next match, so
who's Nadal playing?
Nadal plays Kubler later on in the evening. Well, morning.
He'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I do see the point that Jason Kubler doesn't really present the same threat that Dominic Thiem did, but I'm sure there's somebody. If you're the right kind of person in Jason Kubler's camp, you'd be telling him, hey, there's no better time than now to get a match win over Rafael Nadal. Like, he hasn't played in almost a year. He's still like coming back off injury. Go out there and play your butt off and see what happens. That's what I would tell him if I was in his coaching camp.
I don't want to. I know we've got a lot of Thiem fans in our camp, but I'm sorry. I don't think that Dominic Thiem posed much of a threat against Rafa.
Wow.
And hasn't posed much of a threat towards anyone.
The way I feel horrible because I feel like he's one of the people that should absolutely deserve to have that comeback. And it's just like he's just not there. who he was pre-wrist injury. It's just he's not been able to get that back. The fact that he has lost so many times in a row to Stefanos Tsitsipas, I feel like everyone's gotten a win off of him, and teams still haven't been able to do it.
Oh.
Something about something either happened in the rehab or the actual surgery with that wrist that took some sting off of his shots, because his forehand does not sting the same, the backhand definitely doesn't, and those two things were like the things that stood out. Like the way he could inject pace out of nowhere sometimes was what made Dominic Thiem a force, and
yeah,
that's gone, unfortunately.
He's had any trouble since, so I flew to Perth to find out.
Is that your commentary, Isabel?
no. I think that might be John.
I'm John.
But yeah, poor Dominic. I know everyone's rooting for his comeback still, but I think it might
he
be
deserved the comeback that Zverev is getting. Like,
yeah, definitely agree. Hard agree. I would definitely take Dominic Thiem back in a French Open semifinal than Zverev.
Somebody takes Zverev away again. Like whoever made that happen needs to make that happen again.
But you know what's even crazier? I mean, it's like the tennis. To steal a term from a popular Nole fam supporter, the tennis establishment, well, they never seem to let us rest from Zverev, and I don't really see where the merit is behind it. Would you say, Bianca?
They've been like, I feel like promoting him even more than
and it's not like he's done anything that he hasn't done. So like I don't understand the extra push. Like he did qualify for the ATP finals in Turin, but barely. It wasn't like he was number 3, like he was number 7 or 8. Like, so I mean that's still an accomplishment, not to take it away from him, but him getting to semifinals, he's been doing, or semifinals of majors, he's been doing that a couple different times in his career, like, or him winning ATP 500 titles, like that's nothing new. Like if he wins a slam, then I would see the merit behind like pushing him as a poster boy of the ATP, but he's done nothing that he hasn't already done. So I don't see why they're pushing him outside of maybe they think he has a handsome enough face to sell the product. I don't know.
You know what? He doesn't. He just doesn't. He looks like a pirate.
Long hair.
It's a conundrum.
Don't quote me.
Oh, wait, did she miss that? Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to just burst out. Raducanu hit like almost a really good running forehand passing shot, but I think she just missed it. She's challenging it. This is where that comes in, that whole like, is it in? Is that, oh, she did not challenge it? Or was it just that out? Oh, sorry. I got excited for nothing then.
Well, where I'm at, she's still break points up, so.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's real heavy strapping, but she doesn't seem to be like stretching the leg in any way, hasn't asked for a trainer, so.
That was a great backhand cross court to bring up the break point.
Y'all will see the shot in a second to get the.
I love that lasso thing you just did.
I love the lasso thing.
Oh, and Svitolina just hung her head. Nothing she could do about that.
I'm excited to see this point. I hate that I'm like 25 seconds behind, but such is life. Man, those people that are like right next to the court in Auckland, they have a wonderful view. I wonder how much those tickets are. Oh, that was.
I would think it's probably a really small stadium.
Yeah. It doesn't look huge.
You can call it a stadium.
It looks intimate. Raducanu's getting her grunt on and everything. All right, passing shot here. Lob from Raducanu. This is a great point. Oh, yeah, great point. Great point to break. That was something. That should make the highlight reel in WTA 3-minute and 45-second YouTube channel videos.
Great return just now from Svitolina in the first point of Raducanu's service game. You always see it. That was like a rocket.
This has actually been a pretty high quality match so far.
Mhm.
I was just gonna say, I mean, as much as I don't want Raducanu to win, it's awesome in women's tennis when you get to see it at this like such a good level where every point is kind of crazy. Because when it's just kind of an easy slide for one player, it's kind of boring. But when it's like this, like regardless of who's winning, it's really exciting to watch.
Tennis is at its best, yeah. Because at least if the person that you're really cheering for loses, you can say that was an exciting match, and two, the person played well to beat them. Unlike if your person that you're really rooting for just puts in a clunker, you're like, oh, whatever. They didn't even play well. And then you start having debates on Twitter, like, did they play well or did the person lose or whatever? So I do find it interesting. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. It's okay.
I was going to say, make a note that I don't think Raducanu's skirt matches her shirt. Like, I think those are two parts of two different kits. Or
she
like
matches. She doesn't. If you notice the things she wears, she just picks two different things that she likes and puts them together. It's definitely not the matching set.
I did really like her kit at the U.S. Open in 2021
when she won.
Yeah, that was a really good kit.
Yeah.
I made a video on
Instagram
Reels about that kit, and they love it over there. Like, must stop going viral about the U.S. Open outfits.
That's a good thing. That's a good problem to have. I just found myself down an Instagram hole of faceless social media accounts that get like really good traction. I'm trying to see if I could tap into that myself. Like, I don't mind showing my face on social media, but the people that get thousands and millions of views for like showing pictures of their coffee that they're drinking, I'd love to be one of those people.
Well, the ways we can make money.
I know, right? People complain about the internet, and there's stuff to complain about, but there's also a lot to be happy about as well. Like, you can benefit from it. Like, without the internet, we wouldn't be doing this. So
it's true. I never thought amateur pundit would be something I did in my free time.
Raducanu's backhand down the line is so sharp, man. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be like the most precise. It's just he hits it with such pace and takes it so early.
I think we're about to get one of those sets where it's just breaks and breaks and breaks until someone finally holds.
Yeah, that wasn't a good game for Raducanu, especially with a double fault to finish it. After we were just saying the level has been so great.
She heard us. We jinxed it. These people in the crowd look like they're having a lovely afternoon, like having a little champagne. It's like 2 a.m. for me.
Isn't it? Is it Moet? Isn't Moet a sponsor there, I think? Is it Moet? Or am I making that up? I don't know.
No clue.
Let's see if this comment comes up on the YouTube feed.
Yes, it cheers to champagne.
Oh, you see it? I don't see it. Maybe it hasn't come through yet. Oh, now I see it. Imposter number 2 asked, "Why don't you want Raducanu to win?" Who was that directed to?
Me, probably.
Oh.
Why don't I want Raducanu to win? It's nothing against Raducanu really at all. I'm just a Svitolina fan, and if she's playing, I'm going to root for her no matter who she's playing against. But it's nothing against Emma.
Sean asks, is Emma's serve a bit of a weakness? I can recall her losing leads and sets a lot. It could be better. I don't think she has like just a natural it's not the world's worst serve, but I think the women return so well. Plus, it's not the strongest part of her game, so I think the combination of that is why she gets broken sometimes.
You know, I was thinking about that the other day, that a lot of the women on tour are great returners because they have the opportunity to train against the men. So they're returning these crazy serves all the time. And I feel like that really helps that aspect of the game. And you can see it when they play mixed doubles sometimes. I feel like some of the guys are kind of like, wow, that they're even getting back some of these serves.
Do you mean like their hitting partners are men, so they're like,
yeah, like in practice, they practice against men, so you are getting this a little extra power.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we think on the women's side has the best serve right now?
Can I still say Serena Williams or no?
I will say active, but I was thinking like I don't think we've seen a serve on the women's side as solid as Serena's since then.
You know, I think if I had to go active only, I might go Madison Keys.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, I think there's a heaviness. I mean, it's not always the most, well, I shouldn't say it's effective, but it doesn't always translate to her winning the most matches. But I think if we just take just that serve, not too many women would pass it up if you like say, hey, do you want Madison Keys to serve? I think it's a good one. You get power, you get like placement, you get spin. I think it's a good one. What do you think?
I was thinking Raducanu.
I was gonna say Raducanu as well.
Yeah,
especially because she's super consistent with it. Like I would say Sabalenka has a good serve, but
she does now.
When it's
she does now.
Like,
man. She really was in the trenches at the beginning of 2022. Like seeing her hit underhand serves and like being near tears. Then fast forward a year and she's holding the Australian Open trophy. That's some stuff.
Can we get whoever? I know I've seen interviews with him. I can't remember his name, but whoever the guy is that fixed Sabalenka's serve, can Coco get him on her team? Because like her first serve. I don't know how she won the U.S. Open with her first serve still where it is. But
do you think it's the technique? Because I think her pace on her first serve is actually pretty good. Like she's hit 128, 129 before with it.
Yeah, but it's just consistent. It's inconsistent. Yeah. She double faults a lot. She hits a lot of first serves in the net. Like it's just not. I don't know what the problem is because I'm not a player myself, but. If she could just get whatever mechanic she needs to get in there and perfect her first serve, like she could be untouchable.
Yeah, her forehand looked good today. I mean, she won 6-3, 6-love, so it was working for her today. Yeah, but I see what you mean. I definitely see what you mean. That's one of the most beautiful things about Coco is that like we're seeing all of that kind of stuff happen in real time, which sometimes we. Like once a player comes to the forefront, all of those things are developed as much as they're kind of going to be. You can like tinker here and there, but with Coco, she was just so raw. It seems like we're getting all of that development in real time while she's on the tour. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like people always forget that she's still 19. Like there is so much growth that's gonna be happening.
Yeah, very moldable still.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy. Like she won a slam while she was being molded and she wasn't even,
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. But things have been happening in her coaching camp. Like Pariba is no longer there. I think Tennis Channel, somebody from Tennis Channel said that Jameer Jenkins is no longer a hitting partner. So it's just Brad Gilbert. Yeah. So I'm interested to see what's going on.
I thought like Pariba was like more her coach and then Brad was kind of around, but now I guess it's full-time Brad.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not a fan of the tennis commentator coaching duo. I don't think it's impossible to do both well, but I do think you're leaving some on the table when, especially at slams, and your coach has to do this 2-hour segment with ESPN and also get you prepared for your night match. Like I feel like that can be less than ideal. So that's why, like, I think Brad Gilbert's a good coach, but he's also a heavy, like, he has a heavy role as an analyst at ESPN to a certain degree. So I wonder, you know, if that's ever going to rear its ugly head. So
Yeah, same with Darren Cahill.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think. I mean, I know that he's. Sorry, go ahead, Bianca.
No, you go ahead. I'll just go ahead.
I know he's coaching Yannick now, and I don't want to say that it hasn't been helpful because I know Yannick had a decent season, but I just wonder if Darren wasn't doing pundit stuff, like would Yannick be playing better?
I don't know. It's a weird line because obviously the coach isn't out there swinging for you, but they have a significant role. So it makes you wonder, like, the times that they are in punditry commentary mode and not in coach mode, what is being left, you know, up to chance. So that's a good call.
There was a match where I think Yannick had just finished and he was immediately gone and changed into a suit and was already doing like the walk-on interviews.
Gilbert said the same thing in the US Open. He like literally said, yeah, I just finished Coco's match and I changed into a suit. And I was like, that's cool and all, like ha ha he he. But
don't you talk after the match? I don't know.
Don't you want to what?
Like talk over the match.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you leaving on the table? Like, there's something that it can't all be like every cylinder can't be clicking at its highest gear when you do two important jobs like that, you know? So, because then what about the prep for the commentating? Like, are you actually looking at the stuff you need to look at to be able to present this match to the public?
Okay, literally none of the pundits do that, Miles.
Maybe I'm asking too much.
McEnroe does not know who's playing at any given time, so no, I'm sure they don't do any prep work.
He doesn't know what round we're on. He's just there.
No, they're just shooting the breeze. Like, they don't do any work. Are you kidding me?
Crazy. That's not fair because I mean, even like I don't do a ginormous amount of prep for these, but I do some of it. Like, I make sure I have an idea of what to expect in the match. Like, when I'm asked about predictions, I try not to just pull them out of my rear end, or I try not to pull anything out of my rear end really, but sometimes that's what it feels like they're doing live on ESPN, and it's like, how did we get here?
I mean, they get paid so much that they're just like, I don't have to put a lot of effort into this, right?
And
if we could just get Eubanks to take over for Johnny Mac.
I was just going to say,
come on.
There's no one really pushing these people out of these jobs. Like, it's like, if anything, ESPN has to be giving them incentive to stay around because they need people to commentate and give color to these matches. But there's also no brigade of journalists and sportscasters coming in that have momentum to kind of be the next face of ESPN tennis or any other. Well, I think Amazon Prime was doing okay. Tennis Channel does pretty, like, they've looked up
their commentary is better than ESPN. I will say that. I don't particularly like Martina in general.
Oh gosh.
But their commentary is at least more insightful.
Yeah.
ESPN. But I think one of the reasons that they have the people on ESPN that they do is primarily for the American audience.
Yep. Because they know them.
Because the age range of people who watch tennis in the States is still people who were watching when John McEnroe was at his peak. So I think that's why they've kept them around, because they're like, this is a recognizable name for the audience.
A large chunk of the audience. But I think that's a problem. Like, if you were watching tennis when Chris Evert was in her heyday, like, I love that you still love the sport, but I think you've kind of been phased out, and you should be phased out, like, realistically, as to where the sport is trying to aim, like, you should be trying to aim at people that are growing, not people that are like on the other side of 70 or 60. Like, those people deserve to be thought of too, but like, that's not the largest chunk, if that makes any sense. At least that's how it works in my mind. I don't know.
Well, I think for us who are like the real fans, we don't really care all that much about who's doing the commentary.
Yeah, we just want it to
right?
be good. The bar is not high. Like we just want you to feel like I would want the commentators to feel like they care as much as I care about what's happening. And sometimes I don't get that feeling. It's like, oh, we're just going through the motions. So
yeah, I think that the ESPN and like all sport networks in the States, I think they just don't give enough credit to the fans of tennis. I think they're always trying to make it like, oh, we need to appeal to a larger audience rather than appeal to the audience we already have.
Yeah. Hi, John. Yeah, John is saying, yes, we can watch with music on and commentate in our own heads, to be honest. Yeah, and sometimes that's even more entertaining. That's more entertaining.
Yeah, I keep everything on mute for the most part, especially if it's the McEnroe brothers.
Oh, gosh.
I know hip hop as well, but I feel like, how is he there?
That was a really good drop shot. Again, another point in the forecourt for Raducanu, which she kind of shows her hand skills, which don't get enough credit. But they've gotten her some good points. John Reed, welcome into the chat. I don't think your name is familiar to me, but if you haven't subscribed, feel free to do so. We're a fun bunch.
Yeah, I've seen Svitolina really dictate the points in this set. She's really being really aggressive, which I love. I love when she switches gears into that.
Just scrolling back a bit, John Reed said this match has been the best of the season. Wish Emma's serve wasn't declining. Best of the season. This is like the 5th match, so definitely.
I was gonna say it's like the start.
It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys have the like live tennis ranking app, but it's like obviously reset for the year. When I checked yesterday, the #1 player in the live rankings was Zizou Bergs.
Is that the ranking or the race?
That's the race. The race.
Okay. That's interesting. Isn't he Belgian? Is Zizou Bergs Belgian? Okay.
Full-time TikToker, part-time tennis player. I think that's.
Oh, that's Zizou? Is that what he is?
Well, no, he's a player, but he makes so many TikToks that always go viral. I always see him on my page.
Oh, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give a concerted effort to spend more time on TikTok this year. My eyes probably will hate that, but it's the last of the social media apps that I really spend time on. Like it's the one that comes least natural to me.
It's very overwhelming.
Yeah, and that's primarily where I make all my content. But I try not to doom scroll on there because it gets a lot. I just post and leave.
But I do search things. Like it's quickly, in a weird way, it's behind YouTube as far as like how to do this. What are your reviews on that? Or like reaction to that? It's there for that. But like just casual scrolling, it can be, I don't know.
It sucks you in. It really does.
Yeah.
It's my goal this year to get off of TikTok or just be there less.
Maybe Nick Curio should make it a goal to get off of OnlyFans.
No, you know what? He can stay there. He can stay on OnlyFans if that's making him more money than tennis.
Zizou explains how stardom came about.
There's another guy that does thirst traps that's pretty young on the ATP tour, but I've only noticed him on Instagram. Arthur Cazot. Let me look it up.
I don't think I'm familiar with him.
Yeah, but he does. I've just kind of stumbled. I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting.
I miss the days.
And Marcos Giron. You guys know Marcos Giron?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He has a he has a he has a distinct audience of followers. I'll say that.
I don't know if he's garnered that purpose or
has he garnered what?
Garnered that audience on purpose, or he's just rolling with it now.
It seems like he's leaning into it now. It doesn't seem like something he meant, but it does seem like he's leaning into it now. Like the high booty comments are very consistent over there on Instagram.
So it seems like Raducanu has broken back, and we're now evenly matched again.
Where I'm at, she's in a position to consolidate this break back.
I think if Raducanu wins this match, it'll be a really good sign for her season. Because Svitolina, as we've said before, is not the easiest player to beat, especially right now. So if she can get through this in straight sets, I think we're looking at a really good run at the Australian Open.
I hope. The only thing that gives me pause is the strapping on her thigh, because I've had that feeling a couple different times with Emma where I'm like, oh, this could be the start of something, and then unfortunately there's a pullout or like a clearly hampered Emma. Like, oh my gosh, that volley! Where are these hands coming from?
No, I'm a different point. The game-winning point just now was crazy. Y'all see that in a sec.
The 30-all point, she had a stretching backhand volley that she like did a spinning 360 to. Oh wow, okay.
She has skills. I feel like this is like new to me. I didn't know she had all this.
Me either. I didn't. Me either. Did not know. Oh.
No, you're not. You're not crazy, John.
Yeah.
Far more juice on the backhand, more offensive play, it seems. Yeah, definitely. The backhand is firing.
And I mean, I know she's all taped up, but it really doesn't seem to be.
It's not even addressing
her. Yeah.
Pretty good.
It might just be precautionary.
This is good. This has been a fun watch so far.
The only player I get really concerned when I see the crazy strapping is Mukova, because she's got crazy.
She's got a reputation as being like the injured one, unfortunately. Do you have like a Bianca? Do you have like a B tier? I know you said earlier like you are big fans of Sabalenka, Carlos, and Rafa. Do you have like a B tier or like subsector of players that you also root for? Like if they're on, you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I do. Like I like when there's an underdog storyline happening there. So I'm really, besides those three, if someone's coming on and I'm watching the match, I'm like, oh, they're playing better than I thought, I start rooting for them. I do like Holger Rune. I like the way I have to think about it. Like I don't really stray far from my circle. I like Coco. Coco. I feel like I never used to watch her, and this year I've been really, ever since the French Open final that she lost, I've been more following her career as well.
Fair.
Well, that final is really hard for me because it's like I wanted both of them to win.
You want Sabalenka and Coco. Yeah.
I like happy and sad.
I'm enamored to Coco because of where the start happened. Like I started watching tennis because of Serena and Venus. So when Venus, like I'm always going to tune into her matches, whether I think she's going to win or lose. So when I saw Coco beat her at Wimbledon all those years, that's where the journey kind of started for me. So yeah, watching her win now is very fun because I've literally, even though 2019 to 2024 is not that long, but even in that short time period, she went from a 15-year-old to a 19-year-old and now a Grand Slam champion. So
yeah,
another great drop.
It's a good story.
Now you guys will see shortly.
Was it the opening point?
No.
Oh, okay.
For Love 30.
Gotcha. Yeah, I gotta get on the Bet 365. Is it you said, Bianca?
No. It's good for when you're streaming, but when I'm like actually watching, I will go on TSN because then I want to hear the commentary. But
gotcha.
It's good for this, and it's right on time.
I have
sport betting is actually not legal in California, so I can't even access that site.
Really?
You can't access Bet365?
No, because sport betting is illegal in California.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. Wait, you mean to tell me all the people that I see talk, another great pickup for Raducanu at the net.
That's the shot.
Wow. It's been like 5 or 6 times where I've kind of stopped and like, wow, that's something. Wait, so you mean to tell me all the people that I see talking about sports betting, none of them live in California?
I think if you get a VPN,
Okay.
you can get around it. Because I definitely have friends who participate in that, but it is not technically, it's not legal in California.
Yeah,
so if you are doing that, there's technology to get around it.
interesting, because California makes up a huge population of the United States. So like, and I see a lot of people talking about sports betting, not even just tennis. So that's wild to me. Oh, interesting.
I had someone I knew was going to Vegas a while back, and they asked me if they wanted, if I wanted to place any bets on upcoming tennis matches while they were there. And I was like, I don't know. How would I collect the money? And they were like, I don't know. Because I can't collect in California. So people definitely do it, though. They just get around it.
Interesting. John Reed, where are you? Are you in Canada as well? Are you based in Canada? Because Bianca, you said you're in Toronto, right?
Yeah, I'm in Toronto. So TSN, it's Toronto Sportsnet.
Gotcha. It's like the equivalent of ESPN in the States.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh, I have a question. Which have you been to both Montreal and Toronto sites for the National Bank Open or the Canadian Open?
I've only been to Toronto, but I've been to the ATP and WTA years.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's
I've
fun.
always wanted to go to that tournament. Every time I'm in Toronto, I'm not there at the right time.
You know, funny enough, I was in Toronto at the right time. I just didn't have tickets to the event. I watched Serena in 2019 at a bar at the airport. So I was kind of there.
Yeah. My sister went a while back and she saw Felix for the first time, and she texted me and she was like, oh, there's that young Canadian kid is really good. And I was like, oh, you mean Dennis? And she went, no, the other one. And I was like, there's another one?
Yeah, I'd have to say last year was that was when Simona Halep won. So a little controversial win there. I watched her win that.
Yeah, controversial now for sure.
That I found the matches were much better than the ATP matches this year. I feel like something was in the water that was not good. Like I think I watched Dimonor and Davidovich Fokina and then Tommy Paul and Yannick Sinner, and they were just like fine. Like it wasn't like crazy highlight reel matches that you see, but the atmosphere there is really good. It's like
Tommy Paul and Sinner played a long rally. I remember that I just happened to see on a highlight reel or something. Like it was like a 40-something shot rally, something like that. I don't know.
It doesn't surprise me from Tommy Paul. I mean, you know, the boy can rally.
Yeah, that's for sure. Raducanu had a break point to go up 5-3 in this set, but Svitolina seemed to save it off. / get lucky because Raducanu had a backhand kind of lined up there. She just hit the tape with it. So, yeah, this is a must-win game, I think. It feels like a must-win. She definitely doesn't want to put herself back up against the wall because if she loses it, she's going to have to break to stay in the match, which is not impossible, but it's not a place you want to be in. Is anyone noticing that Raducanu doesn't even have a profile picture on this scoring board? But Svitolina does? I just noticed that. John noticed. Yeah, Brady, it's not the quickest stream over here, but we're doing our best. Did Ostapenko lose that match against Kvitova? I'm not Kvitova, Pliskova. I think she won. That's a good hole from Svitolina, by the way, to level at 4-all.
Yeah, she's not out of it yet.
Mm-mm. Emma has to play a solid game here. Svitolina will definitely snatch the set from her. Birds, man. Birds that keep flying in front of this court.
The birds.
They almost don't look real. Like, I keep thinking they're like cartoons.
Definitely in the nitty-gritty part of this second set here. Those are some interesting sound effects. Does it feel like Raducanu is reaching back a little bit more on her serve?
I'm not too sure. I don't really remember what her serve was looking like.
Yeah, I have not been paying attention to that specifically.
There was one she just tried to hit out wide that made me think about it. Like I just saw a bigger, I guess, arch in her back a little bit when she went out wide. But sometimes you have to do that when you're trying to serve out wide.
You guys see that Swiatek has changed her serve.
You know what's funny? I haven't seen her play a single live match so far.
Well, the toss is like completely different.
Oh, really?
How so?
Like how he holds the racket is as well.
I was just having a conversation with her. Oh, that was a good drop shot from Svitolina this time. On the stream with Coco for Coco's match earlier, we kind of got on the subject of Swiatek basically disengaging from using drop shots, because that's actually what I remember her 2020 French Open run a lot for. She would definitely hit big, but she was ending points with kind of delicate drop shots, and I haven't seen her do that in a while. So I guess they really are doing some things in that team of hers to kind of make her the best tennis player possible, and like tinkering with some things.
How many slams do we think she'll win this year?
One for sure.
One. Yeah, she set herself apart from the field on clay at Roland Garros. So yeah, 3 of the last 4. It's hard to just unless a lot happens between now and the beginning of the French that makes us think differently. She's the favorite right now. But if she doesn't win a title on Stuttgart, Madrid, or Rome, or does very poorly at all of those, then it could be an open field. You never know.
Yeah. I know she'd really love to get a hard court, another hard court.
Yeah.
Under her belt, so. Because she's got 3 out of 4 slams now?
Just 2. Yeah. She doesn't have a Wimbledon. She doesn't have an Australian.
Oh, why did I think she had a Wimbledon?
No, that's the one that I think she's gonna with the most.
Yeah, forget what I said then. I mixed her up with somebody else. Yeah,
that's a good hole for Raducanu there, by the way.
Yeah,
I think Iga will probably be working more towards grass than anything else.
Maybe that's why she did those things on her serve. Maybe, who knows? To try to get a couple extra MPHs going and getting used to it ahead of the grass court season. Who knows? Wow, lighting really does make a difference when I do that. Wow, that's crazy. Isabella, is that you typing?
No, I think that's John.
Oh. Wait, John,
Very abruptly disappears.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that all along.
Awfully quiet.
I mean, and also I just clicked on YouTube a minute ago, and there was like one of the commercials or whatever comes on before, and I heard Miles go, "That's interesting background noise." I thought, did he just hear the commercial? Anyway, I'm gonna mic this mute. Mute this mic.
That's funny. Isabella, I thought you were researching something, or it could have been Bianca. Why do I keep saying Isabella? I'm so sorry.
It's
Isabella.
okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's a very common mistake.
Sorry. Yeah, I hate when people mess up people's names. Like, you should always be apologetic because your name means a lot. In my mind.
Sure.
Anthony says, all I know is Bushkova is dismantling whichever one of these two wins.
She dismantled Anisimova pretty well. I think that was Anisimova's second time losing Love and 1 in Auckland. And I think that was the second. I don't know if she's played it in between 2020 and 2024, but she lost at that exact scoreline, I believe, to Serena Williams in the semifinals. So, but it was good to see her back. I do like Anisimova, especially her backhand. Her ground strokes in general are great, but that backhand is wonderful.
Night, John. Yeah, we're looking at some witching hours right now for me.
Yeah. I'm not going to say what I hope happens in the next 3 points, but I wouldn't be mad if it
I'm hoping the same.
Yeah. It's much later for you guys, but I'm nearing midnight and I'm kind of like, oh, I'm tired. I'm getting old. I don't know if I'm ready for the Australian Open. I got to switch up my sleep schedule now.
I mean, but on the West Coast, I don't know. As much as I love Australian Open, I would love being on the West Coast time zone for it. That's for sure.
I mean, it's probably the best one to be at if you're not like actually in Australia, but the later it gets into the tournament, the later the matches are. I remember last year it was like 1 or 2 in the morning waiting for a match to start, and like I had a job at that point and I was just like, I need this to end.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do. Like I was setting alarms to wake up at like 6, so that's more manageable. I'd watch it before work, which was a little more.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you guys do that though. You guys are real tennis fans, because.
Oh yeah, I mean, nothing's gonna stop me. Like when I was working as a barista, I remember like I would specifically take on shifts where I was only going to be washing dishes if a certain tennis tournament was on, so that I could like have it up on my phone, like while I did dishes. Like I've done some dangerous things and like played ESPN feeds in my car while I drive. Like I
love doing that.
I only did that for Coco in the final because I had to do a work thing and I missed the first half of it and I had to drive like 45 minutes and I was like, I'm not going to miss the rest. There's no way.
The French Open semifinal between Djokovic and Alcaraz that was like hyped up beyond measure. I had just landed in England, so I was like jet lagged. Don't have like none of my TSN wasn't working. I'm not in Toronto anymore, so I had some like janky stream in a car driving to a hotel, and then the match was terrible anyway.
Yeah.
I don't hate it when that happens. You put so much effort into getting there, and you're like, oh, it's 3 sets.
Anticlimactic, that's for sure. I think there was one set that was good, but for the most part, that match kind of womp womp womp.
Yeah, but then he came right back and did that Wimbledon final.
Yep.
And
that was the best part of the 2023 season on the ATP, really.
Yeah.
I get in a lot of arguments with people on Twitter because I feel like there are a lot of people that it's like they make it seem like there's no good WTA match and every single ATP match is
better. And
I'm like, you need to tell me that the final of the Australian Open between Novak Djokovic and Stefanos Tsitsipas was better than Raducanu and Sabalenka. No chance. Like,
it wasn't
No,
better
not at
than
all.
this match. I mean, that final wasn't better than this match here. It really wasn't.
I mean, even the U.S. Open men's final this year was
Yeah.
so
Like-
unwatchable. I'm sorry, but like the women's was so much more entertaining.
If you're looking, small plug, if you're looking for somewhere to recap some of those best of 2023 matches, you're on the right channel. Talking Tennis has a whole series dedicated to the best matches of 2023. You should check it out.
Yeah, I do hate that there's still that kind of, I don't even know what to call it, a stereotype about women's tennis, that it's boring, or men's tennis is inherently more interesting. And I kind of got that for a little while, because when Serena was kind of at her peak and like no one could touch her, I sort of get why they thought women's tennis was getting boring, because I also at the time was a little bit bored with watching Serena just kill everyone. But it's kind of switched. I mean, Djokovic just murders most people that walk past him, and women's tennis is this huge open field. So like, I don't understand how people could still be saying that.
Yeah. It's gotten a little smaller thanks to Swiatek, but Swiatek, excuse me. I'm working on it for those that have. Hey Matthew, see, I caught myself.
Just call her Iga. It's fine.
Iga. I don't know why I don't do that.
Do.
I should do that more. Iga. What was I saying? Yeah, her dominance has definitely closed the openness a little bit, especially like we were just talking about the French Open. But I agree. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because Serena's career to me was almost perfect. Every time I thought that it was getting a little predictable, something would happen. Like,
sure.
Like 2012 to 2013, I could totally see how somebody was like, oh yeah, just pencil Serena into the final and she'll get there. And then sometimes she would lose, but mostly she wouldn't. But then 2014, she loses early in like the first 3 Grand Slams, and then 2015 she almost wins all of them, but in 2016 she loses in the Grand Slam finals in Sydney. So like, I don't know, she did a brilliant. I'm biased because I love her, but she did a pretty good job of not always making it the Serena show. Like there, especially when she got into her 30s, there were some moments where the other girls had some shine, but you know.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you know, she didn't have complete and total dominance in those years you mentioned, but I think it was pretty safe to assume, watching her play, that oh yeah, she'll make the next round.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't need to finish this because she'll make it to the next round. Yeah, I do remember when she lost to Roberta Vinci. Even I was like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
Like, what? That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I remember that match more than I remember the final that year.
I remember Panetta winning it because I actually always kind of had a soft spot for Panetta. I never thought she would be a Grand Slam champion, but I always thought she had really nice tennis behind her, and she ended up taking advantage of that one. So kudos to her.
The all-Italian final.
Yep.
It's so crazy. All these years, like from probably like 2007 to 2013, I was not watching any tennis because I used to play tennis, and watching tennis would give me major anxiety, so I wouldn't do it. So now I'm having to like backlog of all these things.
So when did you start really becoming like the kind of tennis fan that stays up or like sets their alarm clock? What year was that?
Probably like 2020, like pandemic. I was like,
okay,
started playing again just because there's nothing to do, and like it was the only sport that was social distancing safe, and I was like, perfect, the one I play. And then I was like, I actually love this and wish I appreciated it more when I was playing.
That's awesome.
I kind of had not a dissimilar situation where I played when I was a kid and I hated it because I was so bad at it. And it was only after I stopped playing that I became like a major fan. because there was more. I got more out of it watching it than I did playing it. But I don't think I started setting my alarm until I was like in college.
I started early. I've told this before, but I have a whole backlog of VHS tapes from like the 2007, 2008, 2009 seasons. I've been I've been watching tennis for a while now. I wonder when I'm officially going to be old to like the Gen Z generation or whatever generation is under me. When I tell that story and like, oh my God, you were watching tennis in 2007? Yeah, I was.
Well, I guess that makes me old too. I just had my parents are big fans, so they would always like wake me up for matches and stuff, especially Wimbledon, because that was like the only tournament I could really like watch in its entirety because it's during the summer. So we were always getting up at like 6, 7 a.m. And watching it for the entire day.
Who do you guys think gets out of this second set tiebreaker?
I don't know. We just had Svitolina get a mini break, Raducanu get it back. I feel like it's going to be back and forth the whole way until maybe an extraordinary backhand from Emma.
I like how you say backhand.
Yeah, the accent will come out every now and again when I'm not doing my Canadian customer service voice. Because I live in Canada, but I'm originally from Barbados.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
cool,
okay.
cool. Oh, Savage Fenty. A little Rihanna Fenty action. Isn't that where she was born there?
Yeah. Our
Cool,
girl.
cool. Roger said I should be worried when people start asking what VHS is. Yeah, those are obsolete days, that's for sure. Looks like one of those coaches in Raducanu's box that's taking notes on their pen.
I saw she has a little sheet with her.
Yeah.
Svitolina's not happy right now. Raducanu's 3-1 on mine.
Eek.
Eek. The way Raducanu stays low on that forehand on down the line sometimes is
I love to see it when her knee almost
watch. Yeah. It's not the Radwanska kind of like it's not that spot, but she does get really low. Yeah, Radwanska basically she should copyright that shot. Thanks for watching on X, Matthew, by the way, or X/Twitter.
Oh, I didn't realize that little bubble is where people are watching from. Okay.
It'll tell you where the comment is from. I think the purple one is Twitch. I've never had a Twitch account.
Yeah, me neither.
People tell me I should, or like Discord or something, but I just between Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, like this, and YouTube.
At this point.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I just got a Discord like yesterday, and I have no idea how to use it.
That's like
I feel so out of place. Oh, Be Real! I can't with Be Real. Oh my God.
Me into getting it, and I'm just like, what am I?
Wait, what is it called? Be Real?
Be Real.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like Instagram, but you can only post once a day, and
then it disappears.
It and then it like sends you a notification that like, oh, it's time to be real. It's time to post on Be Real, and you just have to post a picture of like whatever you're doing.
Interesting. Kind of sounds like Snapchat when Snapchat was a bigger thing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a combination.
3-all, second set tiebreak. Definitely a match I'm glad I've witnessed so far. That's for sure.
Yeah, I didn't expect Emma to play at this level.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping she can get it done right here.
I know, I'm kind of the same. I don't know if I can sit through another set.
Yeah, especially if another set goes to tiebreak. It's like, oh boy. I'd kill to be a New Zealander right now.
Right.
And be on that time zone. ASB Classic, second round. This is for a spot in the quarterfinals of the first tournament of the year. Great match so far.
Oh, horrible miss from Emma just now.
Eek.
Svitolina has set points.
Eek.
Oh, God. I'm still on 3-2.
Oh, yeah, that was a really bad miss.
We're going to a decider, people.
Yikes.
I mean, on the one hand, I'm happy for my girl, but
that's great for tennis. Great for tennis, not good for my eyes.
Oh my gosh, just looking at the length of time for these sets.
It's been a long one, hasn't it?
67 minutes for the second set.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those were two really poor forehand misses to get Svitolina to set point, by the way. Like, one was dead in the middle of the net and the other one was almost to the backstop. Not good stuff. Not good stuff.
All right, whoever wins, just win this set 6-1. She's a fighter, though, Svitolina. Like,
she is. She's running to her chair. Ugh. We're in a shootout for the. Thanks, Ted. We're in a shootout for the winner in this one. That's for sure. I could use some sugar. Where's my thing of cookies?
I'm right there with you. I also have cookies.
Oh my God, where are they? Where'd I put them? Okay, be right back. They can't be that long.
Prediction for the third set. I mean, I'm biased. I'm going to say that Svitolina will run with it.
hopefully it's 6-1. Like I said,
20 minutes. Yeah, it's much later for you. It's definitely worse on your end.
It's gonna be hard for me. It's always hard for me to keep up with this tournament this time of year.
I went to university on the East Coast, so I understand. It was rough. You know who I really miss though? I really miss BB.
Yeah, I watched her play at the Masters here. She was good. She won the match that I watched, but like I don't know. She's another one that's just injury riddled.
Yeah.
Seemed to escape that cycle.
She was really the pride of Canada, though. I mean,
when she won that year, it was like well, the Raptors won the NBA championship.
Yeah, that's right. They did.
People were high off like Canadian champions.
Yeah. My father, who is Canadian, he cried when she won the US Open. Like I have it on video of him, tears streaming down his face, singing the Canadian national anthem.
What's wrong with Emma's leg? We don't know.
We have no idea.
It's not been addressed at all. Like She hasn't called a trainer over at any point. She hasn't looked at it. I don't know. Maybe it's just for precautionary.
Yeah. Well, we also don't have the commentary on, so we can't. We don't know if they've said anything about it. It looks like at the break right now, Svitolina she's got like tape on her foot that she's replacing.
Yeah, she's been shaking out the right ankle a little bit, but
she just cut off a bunch of tape and now she's putting her shoe back on. So I don't know what that means.
Isabel, you're watching on Tennis Channel Plus, right?
Yeah.
There's no commentary for you?
Well, I have it muted.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I can hear faintly the commentary, but you know what's fascinating to me? Tennis Channel like makes itself like this 24/7 tennis network, but they're not even using their own commentators right now. I can tell this is the commentators from the world feed. It's just that Tennis Channel is producing it. Like it's crazy. Literally the only difference between this and the Bet 365 stream is the little small Tennis Channel logo. That's it. It's probably the same commentators.
Well, it's probably because it's a smaller women's tournament.
Yeah, but they do this. They do this pretty often. Like they'll like have it's like they only give their commentators time from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. After that, it's like they go straight to the world feed. I'm like, but you're on the West Coast. This would be perfect for you. Like you're in Santa Monica. Like it's only, what is it? It's like midnight. I guess I don't know. Maybe they're a little older.
Yeah, but you know what? Like if I was getting paid, to watch tennis and talk about it, like I'll do that at any hour of the day.
Yeah, especially
I'm not even getting paid to do this now, and I'm doing it any hour of the day.
Like, especially at a fancy studio with the coffee and you're in Santa Monica, California. Like, come on. You probably have a nice, perfectly good Logitech chair or something. Like, come on.
And you don't even have to have the facts all straight. You just do your thing. Fine.
I don't have to do any work.
Insane. Looks like Svitolina is with the momentum, that's for sure.
Yeah. I love how the sun has set in Auckland now.
Yeah, it is pretty beautiful.
Rising shortly with me. No, I'm being dramatic.
Ted, you can find us on Twitter at Talking Tennis. I think it's Talking Tennis.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We have gained quite a few followers just in this stream, I think.
We love to see it.
Yeah, I think 70 people. It was at 5,030, I think, when we started.
Yeah. We must be really good at this.
Right? Good dynamic, I guess.
Yep. Cheers to that. And these cookies are so good. Sorry.
What kind of cookies do you have, Miles?
To be honest, I really don't know. I think they were like New Year's cookies my mom made. I think they're like tea cookies.
Okay.
I just accepted the gift and I was like, sure. You guys know what else is making me kind of sleepy? I have a candle burning in like the right corner of my little makeshift studio. And anytime a candle burns, I get really drifty and kind of drowsy.
Well, I'm literally right next to my bed, so I'm just like seeing it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Same, Bianca, just like there it is.
Roger said our commentary is better than ESPN. That's for sure. I will take that in stride, Roger. Appreciate that.
My salary should be as high as John's.
You know who actually does a pretty good job of earning their salary, in my mind, or to my opinion? Chris McKendry. She's a really, really good moderator, like at the desk and stuff, like leading us in and out of certain packages that they do. And, whose match is covering or who's covering what match. She's pretty good at that.
Even Pam Shriver is really good.
Agreed. Yeah, I love when Pam does the court side the most. Like when she's able to actually go up to the coaching box or something of that sort and actually have a dialogue mid-match or in between sets or something like that. I love that.
Yeah.
It's not all bad at ESPN.
I think, I think the women commentators are a little more interesting than the men that they have.
Renee Stubbs is good too, yeah.
Yeah, Renee is great. Renee's great. Friend of the show.
Yeah.
We've also had Pam Shriver on the show, I believe.
Yeah. We get the good ones here at Talking Tennis.
Yeah. I do get annoyed with ESPN because they very often do not have women commentating the men's finals.
Yeah.
Which just seems really ridiculous.
Because
the men are always commentating the women's matches.
That's something Pam brought up in a Twitter Spaces not long ago. During Wimbledon, I think she was just like, in all the time that she's worked for ESPN, the women have like, I don't want to say the right, but they traditionally let the women do the women's semifinals, and that's usually, I think, more women than men. But then it switches during the final, like it's like 2 men and a woman. And I don't. It's something of that sort that is something that kind of stuck out to her, and she mentioned it on a Twitter live space, which I thought was interesting. Like they're good for the semifinals, but not the finals. That's weird, you know?
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
that's reminding me of the model ball girl situation in Madrid. How they were switching.
Oh boy.
The what?
Switching for the men's matches, like in Madrid. Did you see that story?
I didn't see it. What's the story there?
Basically, every like high profile men's match, instead of having just the regular like kid ball girls, they had these like, they look like older women, like shorter skirts, crop tops, being like the ball people for their matches. They were on none of the women's matches and the like high profile men's matches. And it was really odd. And like, it really stood out. And the tournament didn't really do anything to address it. Just for the final, they gave them longer skirts.
And that wasn't their first time doing it.
Yeah.
They've done it years ago. They did it years ago and kind of got called out on it. And then they just did it again. So
wasn't that the same tournament that they had 2 birthdays? One was Alcaraz, one was Sabalenka, and they gave Alcaraz a gigantic cake and they gave Sabalenka like a little one.
And both of them had won that tournament before. Yeah. It wasn't like Sabalenka was new. It wasn't like Sabalenka was new to them or something.
And
like,
they both won it again.
Like, yeah, and they both won it again. Yeah.
It was also the same tournament that they muted the mics of the women's doubles players, and so they couldn't speak out about all that was happening during the week. They didn't let them give like a congratulations speech. They just handed them the trophies and
told them to go take pictures. Yeah. The total points won in this match, by the way, is 102 Svitolina, 98 Raducanu. So it's very tight.
I do know that sexism is quite bad in North America, but over in Europe, I do think it's a lot worse.
Well, everyone involved seemed to be like, what? It's fine. Like, there wasn't really like Luciano Lopez, he was like, there's nothing wrong here.
I think they made one little small Twitter thread about it, like how they vowed to be better or something like that, or something or another, but nothing.
I'm keeping an eye this year. Yeah. We'll see what's better. Yeah. They're going to give Sabalenka like a 3-tiered wedding cake.
But I think Jessica Pegula made a good point at the press conference, either at the French Open or something, where she was asked about it. She was like, I've been in tournaments where the grand total of the prize money is like $25,000, not for the winner, but for the entire tournament. And you even get to speak to your coaching camp, to the 10 people who are in the audience there. So like, for this to be a premier tournament globally, one of the biggest you can win in professional tennis, and for us not to get a chance to thank the fans and our teams and all that stuff is just a bad look. So yeah, that wasn't a great moment.
Yeah.
Neither is that moment for Raducanu. I just saw it. She double faulted to give the break to Svitolina. So maybe that 6-1 set is incoming. Maybe.
I feel it. Sometimes you can just feel it. If Svitolina consolidates here. We could be rolling.
Yeah. Raducanu definitely had her chances in that second set.
Oh.
Those two forehands that she kind of butchered, I'm sure she would want those back. But she's also shown, like we've talked about, the hand skills that I didn't know. I don't think any of us knew that she had.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't want to put her down, but her run was so long ago that I don't really remember what her style of play was when she was doing really well. So I can't remember if she had those skills back then.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I've watched like the highlights. I don't remember some of those twirling like chops she was doing at the net. Like none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Roger says, in the current crop of up-and-coming tennis stars, who, in your opinion, will make it big? Besides Alcaraz, right now? Because I feel like he's
not up and coming anymore. He is here. He has arrived. Who's up and coming right now?
Mira Andreeva is one. She got a win not that long ago. I don't know about make it big, but I do think she'll be better than she is right now.
I think she'll win a title of some level this year.
Gotcha. That's fair enough, Bianca. That's fair. Current crop of who? I think Sinner. I mean, I think he's still technically still up and coming. I think he'll win a slam. I think Holger Rune will too. I think Holger Rune actually has the better upside as far as being a star. He has more of a sparkle on and off the court to me than Sinner does, but then also Sinner has Gucci on his side. I'd want Gucci on my side too if I was a famous athlete.
No hate to Yannick Sinner, but I am surprised that Gucci went to him and not to Berrettini.
Is Gucci an Italian? Is that an Italian brand?
Yeah, I think that's why.
Yeah.
I don't think Hugo Boss is, or maybe they are.
I don't believe it's that's not an Italian brand. I don't think.
It is interesting. Maybe they just saw long-term better value in Sinner than Berrettini, and to be honest, they would be kind of right at this moment.
As they're going to who's winning or has a higher potential.
But why didn't they go for him when he made the Wimbledon final?
I think there was enough evidence to show that he may have been peaking at that moment, as opposed to Sinner. It doesn't feel like he's touched his peak yet.
Mm-hmm. Like he just keeps getting better and has to do that.
Fair enough. Yeah. With Berrettini, I mean, unfortunately, it feels now like that Wimbledon final period was his peak. We'll see. I mean, he's still young enough to kind of come back and do something. But his injuries, man, he's always out for a long amount of time with some kind of injury. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing long term they saw more in Sinner. Maybe it was a redhead thing. I don't know.
What are your thoughts on Andrei Rublev? Do you think slam potential is ever going to be on the table for him?
God, Ruby just breaks my heart. I love him. But he's cursed. He's got quarterfinal curse.
Remember earlier in our stream we were talking about things needing to break Svitolina's way for a slam. I think things need to break Rublev's way. He needs to get to a quarterfinal where he's playing like a person who's never made it that far. And then maybe see what happens in the semis. And even in the semis, he needs somebody that's like the 22nd seed, not the second seed, you know? So
yeah, a lot of things have
kind of like the draw that Yannick got at Wimbledon this last year.
Yeah. Or the draw that Raducanu got.
I don't know who. Does anyone know who Rublev's coaches are?
I think one of them are Spanish. I think I remember reading that somewhere, but I don't really know. Let's Google that. That's a good question.
Because I wonder if he would benefit from a coaching change. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think he has all the tools. Because he goes like head to head with these players. Yeah. So I think he has the potential to get out of the freaking quarterfinals.
Really, those,
But
like, small margins, those like important points that he's losing, and then losing these matches because of.
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, his
yeah.
coach is Fernando Vicente,
Mm-hmm.
and then also Alberto Martin, both former Spanish tennis players.
How long have they been his coaches?
That I do not know.
Okay.
You guys, the roll is happening. We're at 4-love.
Mm.
Yes, Elina. Let's go.
Bring us home.
But yeah, I do believe in Rublev, but there needs to be some kind of shift in his game, because I think just, punching the wall at the same time every time is not going to
literally and figuratively.
Yeah. But I love him. I really do. I want to see him do well.
I know. Like, same. He seems like such a sweet character off the court, and then you see him literally like abusing his racket on court, and I'm like, these two people are not adding up for me.
Well, sometimes when I see other players like get angry and like let out their frustrations on court, it bothers me, and I'm just like, come on, like, you're better than that. But when Ruby does it, I'm like, oh, that poor man.
He's really your guy.
He's one of many, but yeah, my heart just breaks when I watch him play. He did really well last year too, and at Australia, so I want to see him do that again.
Daquan says, views on Naomi Osaka's comeback. I'm expecting big things from her. I'll be honest. I feel like the way she's talking, results.
Yeah.
I am happy. I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic that she's back. Like, I really, really am. And I see that there's a little bit of a more motivation in her eyes. I'm just taking it match by match as far as expectations and trophy lifts and stuff like that. But in general, on the Naomi comeback, I'm really, really happy she's back. And I'm happy that she seems happy to be back with tennis too, because we were saying earlier in the stream that the tennis establishment wasn't very kind to her in some certain moments. So it's good to see that she's found a kind of spark and love for the sport again, for sure.
Yeah. I'm also here for it. Like, I would love to see Naomi come back and be at her peak. I do think it'll be a bit of a slow climb rather than what we've seen from like Svitolina, coming back and being a completely different player in a good way. I think Naomi will have more of a build up to winning again, but I think it'll happen. If only Ash Barty would do the same.
I put a poll on Twitter the other day about Ash Barty, if people like would want to see her come back, and a lot of people said yeah.
Oh, I would love for her to come back. Her retirement was like
very random.
I feel like she can't come back though, because she stood on business. She's like, I'm done. So
well, a lot of players have stood on business and came back very, quickly. Wozniacki did it. I thought Wozniacki was really, really done. I mean, especially after having the second child, I thought she was done. Lindsay
Wait, she has 2 kids?
Wozniacki?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She only had 1. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, I feel like I was on like the tail end of Ash Barty, because I really started like cluing back into tennis in 2020. So I was just getting into that, and then she was gone. I was like, what?
But it's funny though, because that's her second retirement. Like, I think she retired in 2015, 2016 or so, and then she came back. Then she came back. She was just saying that she just needed a break or something of those lines. It was just kind of not fun.
She went and became a professional cricket player.
Yeah,
and then did really well at that, and then came back to tennis. Honestly, I know this sounds crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if she suddenly, in the next few years, became like a pro golfer. Because I know she plays golf a lot, and I'm sure she's very good at it.
Yeah, she's athletic.
I don't know.
She's super athletic.
I do think that she went out in the right way though, because I love it when people win their home slam,
Mm.
like whomever they are. But like I really wanted her to win Australia that year. I was really rooting for her, and she did. And so I think it was fitting for her to be like, I won my home slam, like I'm good
And on
to
a
go.
high.
Yeah, and on that high, exactly. Instead of kind of like my, favorite player, Federer, who did not go out on a high.
He did in his own kind of way, though.
Yeah,
Like,
but like
yeah.
it wasn't on a high. And so I think she did it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I think Serena did it the right way. Although I don't even know if we can call that an official retirement.
She
It was
keeps
an
being
evolution.
retired. Not sure.
It's
Maybe.
it's an evolution. But Serena, I think Serena's tapping into her actress level, like with the whole like being coy about coming back. I know she's not coming back because I don't think she has the drive to like put in the work, and I think she knows if she's not doing that, she's not going to get wins. And I don't think Serena's interested in just playing tennis. Like she wants to be holding trophies and stuff. So that's why I would lean on knowing she's not actually coming back. But she's also like she's an entertainer, so she's being coy with people about like, yeah, I'll play a little bit here and there and give you a little tease. She's always been like that, a tease.
Yeah, that makes sense. I also don't think she's going to come back, especially since she's having another child. I feel like she's moving onward and upwards.
She just posted a beautiful picture of her and her two girls. I was like, oh my God, I've been watching this lady for like most of my life, and she has 2 children.
I know. We've been watching her since she was like 15, 16 years old.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
And now she has like two mini Serenas on her like on her lap. That's crazy.
Yeah. Just tapping in real quick. We're at 5 love.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a did we manifest that a little bit? We said 6-1.
Okay, maybe Emma gets this game.
Yeah.
You never know. You always know, I think when we're doing live streams, like when the match is starting to get like really simmer down, because when we like don't even talk about it for 5 games.
Well, the 5 games came and went so quickly.
They really did.
It wasn't long. You just said, Bianca, like the length of the first 2 sets were like 60 and 70 minutes. Is this one even at 20 yet?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Another good question here from Roger. Who do you think was the best player never to win a Grand Slam?
Elina Dementier. That's my go-to pick all the time on the WTA tour.
I mean, are we talking like all eras or like more recent time?
She's a strong one for me in all eras because she made 2 Grand Slam finals. She made another host of semis and quarters, and she has a gold medal. She won other big tour titles, and I was a little bit fond of her story of like having a corkscrew serve and then like stabilizing it and really being able to compete with the best. So I would go with Dementieva.
That is a really good question. I'm the first person that comes to mind, and it's not just because we're watching his wife play, but I've always been a big fan of Gaël Monfils. I do think there was a time when he definitely was a contender. But I think poor coaching decisions kind of contributed to him not winning. But I do think that he was up there for sure. There's a lot of people to pick from, though.
I would say maybe Dinara Safina, but I mean, she won Roman Madrid, so.
That is iconic. Oh my gosh. I think she's a solid pick, especially by merit of getting to 3 Slam finals and being world #1. Yeah.
Also, David Ferrer. Like growing up, especially because I wasn't really clued into tennis, his name was always around. So I just thought he was like Roger and Raf and all them, just to find out that he'd never won. I was like, what?
That's how I feel about Bandian, actually. Like I guess by the time I got into tennis, David Ferrer was kind of workmanlike in my mind. So like when he got to his one and only Grand Slam final, I felt like he was maximizing, where it felt like David Nalbandian was always good enough to hang with Roger and Rafa and Novak and Andy Murray. It's just that he was always kind of in and out of the focus of it all, and like really not a big match player. Kind of how I put Gael Monfils in the same category. Like I feel like Gael Monfils clearly can hang with the big three on his day, except maybe Novak Djokovic, because that's not a good head-to-head.
I hate to interrupt, Miles, but I'm at match points here.
Oh no, you're fine.
Oh, you're right. And you know what? You 6-1.
That's something, isn't
I
that
want to
something?
smell the 6-1.
We manifested that. That must be like a good omen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, not for Emma, but
yeah, not for. But I mean, you know, it does look like she's going to go on and lose this match. But there's a lot of positives to take away from this if she's smart.
Yeah, she played really well in both those first two sets.
Yeah,
I still think it's a good sign for her upcoming
fighting
season.
though, we're at deuce now from 40-15. Watch the reverse happen from the first.
Oh my gosh, that would be crazy.
Don't say it, Bianca. If
that happens, early contender for match of the year. I mean, this is already an early contender, but like, if that actually happens, definitely a match of the year.
We've got quite a ways to go for the season. I wouldn't be saying that so early.
You're right.
We'll check that.
I did a recap of one of the best of the year last year, which was another Svitolina match. I think you it was Svitolina Azarenka.
That was a great match.
That was such a good match.
That was a literal mother off. Yeah.
Over. Svitolina has won. No repeat. With a great forehand. You'll see it shortly.
Oh wow.
Yes. That's my girl.
I do hope that we were positive from this match though, because she played well up until this set.
She did.
And our predictions were all right, guys. We all predicted Svitolina to win, but we said straight sets.
We did. So that's true.
We were off. We were a little off. We were on. We were a little off. So yeah. And this is also a tough draw for Raducanu. I mean, playing a top 25 player in your second match after 9 months that's a tough ask. And she pushed her as much as she could be pushed, you know. Third set was definitely a little bit more of a washout, but those first two sets she was right neck and neck with Svitolina. She kind of should have won that first set easier, and had she closed it out easier, who knows what would have happened in that second set. So
okay, well, 2 legs of the Djokovic curse has happened. Let's see if Nadal.
That is true. That is true. That is true. We'll see. I mean, Kubler has a big ask, but crazier things have happened, like I always say.
Who else is in that side of the draw?
Dimitrov. It's in that bottom half of the Brisbane. Actually, the Brisbane Open, the men's side is wide open. Holger Rune is still the number 1 seed, but everyone else, it's slim pickings.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Rafa got an easy end of the stick. If
he wins today, he gets Jordan Thompson in the next round because
okay, that's just not even fair. Like, come on. I like Nadal as much as the next person, but like, this is not a good indication of what the rest of his season, possibly his final year, is going to look like, because he's not playing anybody who's going to give him a real challenge. Come on now.
Yeah. I think Humbert withdrew with a sickness or injury, and that would have been his opponent had he won that match and Nadal won his match. So we'll see. But I would like to see Dimitrov versus Nadal. That could be a semifinal. I think that would be fun for sure.
Dimitrov has been better.
Better.
Surprisingly. I don't think anyone expected him to like be an improved player in his career.
Yeah, he is. We were talking about Svitolina having time for a slam. Do you think Dimitrov has time? No? Okay. Am I stretching a little bit? No. Okay.
He doesn't look. I mean, he's a great player. I don't think he has weaponry. I don't think he has weaponry as a player. So I think he can give people a good run when they're playing him. But at the end of the day, like, he doesn't have like that extra gear. He doesn't have that extra sword he can pull out. Like it's just not there.
It's just a slice backhand.
Yeah, I mean, and I would say the same thing about Svitolina 2 years ago, but she's changed and now she has that weaponry, which is why I have hope for her slam future, but not Dimitrov.
Fair enough.
All right, John's saying we gotta let Bianca go to bed.
I have future for all of us at Talking Tennis and the Talking Tennis community, so that's what I have high hopes for that future.
For sure.
Alrighty, guys, it's been fun. If you're listening to us still, feel free to subscribe, like, and share this stream so we can grow the community, and give us a follow on all of our personal socials. Bianca, tell us where we can follow you.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. It's Bianca Talks Tennis. So it really works with the name of this channel here.
What about you, Isabel?
You can find all my tennis humor posts on Twitter under the Tennis Slut.
Love that. And you can follow me on all of the various platforms at Tuned Into Tennis. I also have my own podcasts that I produce and host. So yeah, fun things, always fun to talk tennis with some popular fans and diehard fans. So this has been fun. Alrighty, guys, take care. We're signing out, and we will see you next time.
Have a good night.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.